Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the frenzy. Man, you guys are on fire tonight. I was trying to keep up a little bit with the chat before we were going live, and it's just getting away from me. I couldn't focus on talking with these two misfits and keep up with the chat too. Man, you
Misfits.
guys are lively tonight. I love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love it.
I wish I could see it, but you have me doing some stuff, so I can't see the chat yet.
Well, now
Unfortunately.
you can bring it up. It's
Sure.
fine.
All right.
Gosh,
Yeah.
you can bring it up for now, and then
All right. Well, I
bring
just
up the
didn't want
other
to keep
thing.
having to reach, and have to
I
do
hear
stuff.
you. I hear you. Oh my gosh, we gotta ask you to do so much.
It's my precious fingers can't type.
Right, right.
Oh
Oh my
shit.
god, they are excited tonight to see another fun episode of the Toy Frenzy unabridged version with
Yep.
cool Uncle Sean and
Yep.
beautiful blushing Bobby and me, but we've got other names we got to worry about tonight.
Well, it's fun to be here with you guys today. So we'll see.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's always really look for my weekly lineup. We start off Wicked Wednesdays, like
Yep.
that's like my big night of the week. We get to hear some scary stories. Last night,
Yep.
Duchess had ghost stories on, which were amazing. Several of them were written by the Prowler. That was great and
Excellent
fantastic.
stuff. Yep.
If you guys haven't seen that, definitely go to her channel and check out that link from last night. It was awesome. And then that means it's Toy Frenzy Eve, like the
Yeah.
very
Right.
next night we go live. And, I always love coming on and hanging out with everybody and just talking up toys and everything and talking about the latest news and everything else that comes along or just hanging out and talking about hot dogs and Vicks.
We got. I told you, got to get rid of that.
No, I'm going to keep
I'm
bringing
done
it
with
up
that
because
one. It's
now it
old
makes
already.
me annoyed.
That's an old joke already. It's older than my gray hair going on. So
Ooh,
yeah,
I
at
had
least you
hot
got
dogs
here.
for dinner, so I'm loaded. Let's do this.
yeah, loaded with something. Jesus.
And I also had baked beans, so there might be
Oh,
some
God. Now
random
you
crazy
are
in the
loaded.
background.
You
Have a
are
repeat of
definitely loaded.
I'm
Blazing Saddle
loaded,
scene.
locked, loaded, ready to
Oh,
go. I'm ready for a frenzy on my chair.
All right. Uh,
guys,
just
normally
keep it
I
on your
do.
chair. I was to say, keep it on your chair. Oh man.
Normally, guys, I'll try to run through and we'll do the intro and then we'll do this. However, I wanted to get to the chat because it's exploding. If I don't try to get in there and say hi now, we're never going to get a chance to.
Sure.
All right.
Only been on for
So,
3 minutes.
I'm clicking on the completely wrong screen here because I got it going on two screens. Oh, gosh.
Yep.
So, first up tonight, as always, and always the earliest in the show here, we've got Master Versal Toy Hunter as
Yep.
soon as it wants to
What's up,
pop up.
Eldor?
There we go. Master Versal Toy Hunter in the house. Chef M80 has come in and join us. We have my buddy's Customs tonight, our wonderful, wonderful writer that will be getting to his skits and shenanigans in just a moment. We have
Gotta stop it
Dawn
with the
Roberts.
Sorry. The scripts. Oh,
Oh man, we have Dawn Roberts in the house. She has joined us again this week, and Thanos Copter is with us as always, and Nolan here as well. Fantastic, good to see
Yes.
everybody in here. Oh, double clicking, all the in talking going on. This one makes it so hard to keep up. Everybody talking back and forth. Sir Clifton has joined the chat this evening, having fun, joining in on the frenzy. Hillian Dread has popped up. It's always great to have Hillian
There's gotta
Dread.
be a way you can check it where it's just where you can see everybody in the chat and stuff.
Oh, there is a bit of a way, but I enjoy doing this as well.
Yeah.
Plus, we give these personal shout outs like
Well, I know
again,
that.
Duchess
Yeah.
of Darkness is here. Always happy to have her along with us. And whenever we have Nolan in the house, Ray Black is never far behind.
Yep.
Actually, I think she drags him along most of the time. Beats him over the head and pulls him into the frenzy. Ray Black, good to see you, and happy belated birthday, by the way.
Yep.
Giraffe has joined us tonight with the new name for all of you people out there in the crowd. Hello, Frenzy Knots. I like it.
Frenzy knot.
I love his name, Giraffe. That's great the way he spells it.
It is. It's really
Giraffe.
good. Oh
like-
man.
Guar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And coming down here as we scroll down a little bit more, we've got JMax71,
Ah.
The one that Skelly
Emerald
stalks.
photos. You're right, stalking his car all throughout Fresno.
Nice to play these after. Oh man.
And Radical Boys, Adam has also joined in, and that is Ray Black's birthday twin. Also joined in with us. Good to have you here, and happy birthday to you as well. And down here, we've actually got Toy Anxiety has come on and joined us tonight. Good to have you here.
Dudes.
Probably Craig man in the chat. So good to have you here, Craig. Thank you. Thank you for being here, honoring us with your presence as well. It's fantastic. All right. And I think why is there no sprinkler emoji?
Because they know they'll have to ask me to model for that. I just don't have that kind of time.
They'll just screen grab you.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm available. Just screen grab me. There you go.
Absolutely. And Radical Toy saying, haha, she's on top the channels. I think he's talking about Ray Black and beating up Nolan and bringing him in.
Yeah, right.
So you got the little wave going on here from Giraffe. Absolutely love it. All right, guys. Well, are we ready for this intro? Because it's a long one. They get longer every week.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna have to almost. I think we're gonna have to start having a whole new show just for Bud's.
He'll just
Bud's
script the entire
intros.
show, then you're done at the end of it.
Oh, it says here, report spam. I might do that. Then I don't have to get any more messages from you. I didn't even see that at first. Delete.
That would be awesome.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so here we go, guys.
I might have to ad lib some of this though.
Oh boy.
I hope none of the gollies and G's are substituted, because that's what makes it brilliant.
I really look forward to that
All right.
golly gee darn script.
I'll read it word for word.
Gosh, gee willikers.
These are not my words. These are being put into my mouth.
Oh, that sounds kinky.
Keep it clean, sir.
Only for the first 8 seconds. I think we're beyond that now. We're fine.
All right. Yeah. 7 minutes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The Frenzyverse takes pleasure in bringing you Toy Frenzy. Toy Frenzy is the live toy show podcast where we talk about collections, upcoming toys, media attached to our toys, and more. A new series dedicated to your fascination and entertainment. Week by week, we talk about new material, from the confirmed leaks of social media to pre-orders on our favorite websites and our finds out in the wild. Our favorite toys from childhood, we will parade the most remarkable figures ever known. From the writer of many future seasons of Motu series that he spams in chats whenever given the opportunity, he proudly gives you Toy Frenzy Introduction.
That's where you need a microphone. You need to shake it back and forth. The introduction.
Introduction. That work?
I guess so.
It's more scruffy.
I gotta do one of these, and then it just looks like a whole different thing.
Like a bird pecking for corn.
Right. Little chicken head, right?
A little chickadee.
All right. Tonight's presentation brings you some of the finest hosts in toy news and entertainment. We welcome our Skelevaderites, Ozholes, Bobby's Blushers, and Skevarnites. Our hosts for the evening, Ostra, damn it! Here we go again. Ostradamus Toys, Mattel's prestigious classics Grayskull, bask in its glory and thou not take its name in vain, and its returning co-host, the soon-to-be ghost of funny Uncle Sean Skevarna, whose soul is being watched by the dial-like Castle Hellskull and our illustrious dreamboat here. Beautiful, blushing, better be on your toes tonight, Bobby Motu. Our special Patreon shout out to Nolan being dragged along by Ray, the 2-for-1, but let's be real, this is Ray's shout out. Welcome, Ray. What a dame, and her co-host Nolan.
He's got some words, man.
Doesn't he? It's beautiful. So eloquent. I wish I could actually read them better and do them more justice.
You're doing fine. Can you imagine if I did it?
You know, we'd never get through this. You'd be
I
too
know.
busy sitting over there, turn, cough, and blush.
My,
Diving under the desk again.
my accent might be coming out a little bit. The
Just a
nasally
little
voice.
bit.
Yeah. Yeah, let's
Be
get on
sure
with
to
this
check
crap.
out, yeah. Be sure to check out all the shows us and our guests offer from Legends of Grayskull podcast. Weekly Weirdo on Sundays with Skelevator. Thursdays Toy Frenzy with the boys. Saturday Ostradamus Toys Live, and monthly episodes of Legions Class, which just had an episode last Saturday. Our Patreon, which is accessible through any one of our patrons, gives you access to our Rootin' Tootin' Discord server, where we can all meet up and talk about all of our favorite things, from toys, the moving picture box programs, theater releases, the latest jive bands from the gala, and more. Patreons to Skelevator get early access to his new podcast, Cambria with Sean. On tonight's airing of Toy Frenzy,
Okay, good. I got lost. I'm glad you did that.
boys make their way through an abandoned old Mattel toy factory that is believed to be haunted by the spirit of Grayskull itself. While on the search for answers, the guys talk about their new upcoming episode of Toy Frenzy.
What are we going to be talking about tonight, guys? It's a
Tonight,
stupid line. There's nothing funny about it, and I just can't laugh about it. What are we going to talk about tonight, guys? There you go.
tonight we are going to talk about the Specters of the Past.
Like ghosts?
Zoink, Sean, you goof. Not ghosts, like memories of the past. Here, Sean, have Shawnee's snack, whatever that is.
Hot diggity dog. Hot dogs and mashed potatoes.
That's right, Bobby. We're going to talk about what makes us so passionate about these toys 40 years later.
I'm glad he didn't give me those parts.
Like, what toy or character brings back the fondest memories?
Oh, golly, gee, that's the rip-roaring, rootin' tooting mechanical menace Trapjaw. He's the bee's knees.
Guys?
Trapjaw is indeed rootin' tootin'. I like me the good fisting action of the Fisto. Heroic iron-knuckled hero. Oh, I'd sure like to fist him.
Oh, guys?
What is it, Sean? What do you smell, boy?
It's not Grayskull. It's Castle Hellskull has come to life, and it wants to eat my soul.
Holy mackerel!
Growl. Go!
Ghost!
Oh,
Will
shit.
Sean's soul be eaten by a demonic castle hellskull? Will Oz ever stop getting into more toy lines? Will Bobby go one night without blushing? Tune in next time for the chilling conclusion to Specters of the Past. Or next time Sean is on Toy Frenzy, he is not damned to the eternal shackles of the underworld, where there surely are demonic-like children running around giggling, chasing Sean for eternity. And now we have a special video from our friend Skelevator, who is now at home healing and has some words for us. Skelly, take it away, old chum.
Here we go.
Hello, Skelevaderites. I'm sorry I can't be there for the frenzy today. I am still recovering. I'm not supposed to get up and walk around, and I appreciate all the well wishes from everybody over the last week, 2 weeks now. It's been kind of a weird 2 weeks. We lost a very special family member last week, and then at the end of last week, I I got a staph infection in my foot. It's super gross, I know. But it was really weird and really sudden. And then I was in the hospital for a few days, but I'm at home. I'm unable to attend the frenzy today because it would require a lot of maneuvering regarding the area where I usually record and family and stuff. And plus, I shouldn't be walking around. I'll get in trouble if I walk around. I want to, but I'm not going to. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for everything, all the well wishes, all the support. Thank you to all the Oz holes, all the blushing Bobby heads. Is that what we're calling them now? And all the frenzies. It was great to watch last week's episode, and I know this week's episode is going to be awesome. Everybody tuning in as usual makes me very, very happy. So, be sure to click like and subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And very special thank you to my buddies Customs, Carol Geis, Brick Something, and Motu Origins Cork for being supporters for the Skelevator channel, and to all of you who I did not mention that are Patreons, for Blushing Bobby and for the Wizard of Oz. I thank you as well, and for all of you for being here every week and being awesome, and being so supportive of this group of friends, and also the entire Motu community and toy collecting community. Sorry, Joe Amato, I said Motu. Masters of the Universe community. You're all amazing and all awesome. And a little piece of advice: if you have any inkling that something is wrong with you, go to the doctor. Don't try to wait it out like I did. Okay? I know it's a distracting week for me, but that's no excuse. If anything starts to get weird, you go to the doctor right away, or talk to somebody, or go to a clinic, or whatever your options are. It got very scary. So make sure you take care of yourselves. Be well. And everybody watching the Toy Frenzy tonight, have a blast. I'm pre-recording this, so I'm assuming Sean will be a guest too. If he's not, then I know he's got something better to do. And it's gonna be great.
And there we have it. Words from the man himself.
Yeah, Skelly's one badass motherfucker. I love that dude.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Good to see him.
Yeah.
I miss him, It's been a couple weeks now since we've had him on.
Well, we've been chatting with him offline, but not on the screen,
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Not that we don't enjoy having you here, Sean. You're amazing and we love having you. But
it's fine. I will never ever even remotely think I'm going to take the place of Skelly. He's Skelly. I'm here to just have a little fun with you guys tonight, and that's how it works.
That's good.
So I'm happy to be here.
We can make it a foursome someday, right?
Sure.
Yeah, who knows? I think people would pay to see that. Well,
that's not
Osley fans.
Gotta get them Osley fans.
Hey, those ducats. Let's do it.
That's right. That's right. So I had a couple more people jump into the chat. I wanted to say hey for. We got Danny Phillips in the house, all the way from the UK. I always love it when he shows up because I know what time it is over there. It's ridiculous he's here, but glad to have you. And also Toy Connections has come in and joined us all. Excellent to have you here, Ken. Yep. Thank you for popping in. And let's keep scrolling down here. I know I was saying hey to a couple other people. There he is. And we've got the man Payne's Toy Samples also joining in with us.
He's here.
And as a matter of fact, I was going to say, and Sis has also jumped in. What's going on, K-Roll? Glad to have you here. Thank you so much.
You're not doing that in his house or whatever you were saying last time?
K-Roll in the heezy.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
If I still lived in Baltimore, I could probably pull that one off. But in Central PA, it just it goes downhill with the location.
Yeah, right.
Right. All right, guys. So we've kind of touched on this before in a couple other episodes. We talked about it a little bit, but the three of us have never actually sat down and talked about it together. So,
So
what
why start
really?
now?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Dang.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this was Oz was nice enough to give me a win on this one because he was like, we don't really have a topic, and I go, well, we could talk about this, and that was the first thing that came to my mind, and then he's like, cool, and I'm like, you haven't done that before? Oh, we've done it before. Okay. I'm like, low hanging fruit, but we're just gonna run with it. Let's do it.
Sure.
That's right. Well, I mean, again, we all grew up with this stuff, so there are different memories that we
Yeah, there's
have.
different
Yeah.
stories. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think mostly we talked about the holidays and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, a lot of it was how we had spent Christmas with it and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, again,
Ah,
like Sean, the one episode you were in, I was showing off the pictures of
yeah,
my one Christmas with it. And we were
absolutely.
discussing how funny it was because you were just about 20 minutes to the east, probably doing the same
Yeah,
exact thing.
that's crazy.
5060 East Eager Street, baby. That was the home away from home. I
It's
always
not
consider myself
doxing.
Baltimore for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not doxing when he doesn't live there anymore.
If you want to send Motu stuff to that address, that'd be hysterical though, because then
Yeah,
that'd
right?
be like, I grew up with it. It belongs at that house. So yeah, but
It's probably
I
something
can just
still
picture
remnants.
what in the hell, Castle Grayskull? Yeah.
Sean, do people just randomly send you Castle Grayskulls? Because
Lately, yeah.
oh, well, I mean, if that's the case, I'm going to start handing out my address as yours.
There you go. Well, it won't get to me. It'll get to whoever lives in Baltimore at that address now. But yeah, that's where the first Castle Grayskull was on Christmas for me when I was a kid.
Oh.
That was the address. Yeah.
And that's a proud tradition, right? Like most of us got Castle Grayskull as a Christmas present.
Yep.
Yeah.
So did I. Yep.
It was too much to just randomly have been out shopping and saying, "Ooh, I want Castle Grayskull." No, your mom's not. Your mom and dad were not loading you on with
Yeah.
Castle Gray.
Yeah. That's always the thing back then. Always got the bigger play sets and stuff for the holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
a
Well,
birthday, maybe.
I'm pretty sure I bludgeoned my parents to death to get me all of the figures on the the 8 card or the
Yep.
8-pack card before Christmas that year.
Mhm.
So by that point, they're just like, "Oh, just do it. Just for the love of God, just give them the damn thing." So
Absolutely. So there is something that we can talk about that just hit the news today.
Yeah. I kind
Pour,
of figured we'd bring that up.
pour one out for the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe CGI Netflix series. It has been reported that it is not going to be renewed for the next season. It was kind of in limbo for a while.
Yeah.
Some may have expected this news. I was really hoping it wouldn't. I was hoping that maybe with the release of the art book, it would have drummed up a lot more excitement behind it. It
Maybe
was
the book didn't sell well.
that maybe.
You guys bought it, but maybe you're the
Oh,
only
yeah.
two.
No, Brick
I
definitely
know,
got it
yeah.
because I was looking at Bricks before, so there was at least 3 of us
yeah,
that bought
the
it.
Hooch got it too. So that's
Oh,
4
okay.
of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna go and say it's over. I'm gonna say that writer knows that it wasn't renewed yet, but
It's true.
there was no official "it's done," and they're either using the cane to pull it off the stage or whatever. I think it's still personally in limbo. I'll just go with that until there's an official. Nope, it's never coming back because one person's tweet for me does not equate to the end of the world right now. But
Well, that's
yeah,
what I was
that did it did hurt me though to have that, like, well, they're not progressing on anything past what they've already done, so that probably isn't the greatest news anyway.
So it's not officially canceled then? Because I've seen tweets and things today that said it was canceled.
The tweet from the writer was that
Yeah.
it has not been renewed.
Okay. It doesn't mean it's not.
That was the direct tweet.
Yeah. Well, that's Netflix, so he could take it somewhere else or something, right?
It depends on what kind of deal
I
that
guess
they
so.
would have worked out with
Yeah.
Netflix.
I get that.
But yeah, as far as it is known right now, they have not renewed it. This does not mean that it can't be renewed still. It's just currently not on the slate
Okay.
because they never came out and said that no, it's canceled. We're not doing it. They
Yeah.
just said that it is currently not renewed. So there is still hope, slim, but there's hope.
So the canceled show, toys not showing up in stores anymore. What's going on?
Well, hopefully they didn't, blow their wad all over 2022 and
Yeah, right.
forget that. Hey, man, some people like to go more than one round.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Darth Dave 89 jumping in here, good buddy of mine, says Netflix pulled the plug on a lot of tunes and animated stuff, sadly. And he says even the Gorillas animated feature was canceled. Now that's a big hit because I enjoy watching that. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band, but
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I dig them. I always thought it was really cool to have an entirely animated band that actually age with each album. Each album comes out and they get a little bit older. They change it up.
That's
that I did not know. I just
didn't
knew
either.
them to be an animated band. So that
Go
was
back
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, look at all the pictures and everything like that from the very first album. And then when the next one came out like 2 years later, they basically aged them up 2 years. And there's actually a story that runs through with the whole thing. Each album into each next, it's a story that runs through the whole thing. It's like watching a giant, long musical cartoon.
That's cool. I love that kind of stuff. It makes it more interesting if you know that to enjoy it even more. So now I'm gonna be doing my homework better on that.
Well, it's like when I read Dick Tracy, I've been reading from 1931 to 77, and they're still the same age, It'd be neat if they progressed, certain times.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
just real quick, can I ask you, Bobby, there was something I found out just this week that I thought was really funny. So Warren Beatty did the movie back in 1990. I want to say it was.
Yep.
And apparently he was able to keep the rights to making Dick Tracy movies. It wasn't like it was Disney's thing. It was
he owns
he
it.
could do it.
Yes, he owns
I had
it.
no idea about that. And apparently in order to keep doing that, he shows up on this Leonard Maltin TV show or some kind of a webcast that Leonard Maltin does. And he dresses up as Dick Tracy every year to renew his copyright holding. And when I found that out, I'm like, that's freaking awesome.
It's genius.
I did not know that was even a thing.
Well, it was the same reason that Fox went ahead and did that last Fantastic Four movie.
Just because they had the rights,
Yeah, they had the rights and they put it out so that they could continue with the rights just so it wouldn't revert back to Marvel. And they didn't care if that movie succeeded or not.
But that's also my theory, and nobody's ever proven me right. So obviously it's a crackpot theory, but that is my theory on Man of Steel and why it came out and why the way it worked out, because there was a court thing with the Siegel and Schuster families that said they had to put a movie into production by a certain date in order for DC or Warner Brothers to keep the copyright with Superman. Otherwise, it reverted to the families. So they made that movie. In my opinion, they made that movie just so they didn't have that problem. And then they expected to have a universe built upon that. And I was like, that's probably why this movie didn't work for me as the beginning of anything for DC personally. It was them holding the rights and hoping for the best at that point. But yeah, it's interesting. It just how this all works and these, Hail Mary passes with these brands and these IPs.
Yeah, I'd show you my dick, but I got it in the box. I had. That's always a joke I always did. Every time I send people, like, here's my dick pic, and I take a picture of my action figure, of Dick Tracy, and I used to have, I had him hanging on a string, and it was like to the left of the picture. So I said, "Here's Dick hanging to the left." It's stupid shit.
So you've got Dick in a box over there, like the song?
Dick in a box. Yep.
I want to see Justin Timberlake come in off screen right
pop it off.
Like, hey!
I got my dick in the box with prune face. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? 2 months from the itchy. Oh god, this is a whole different show. We should go to a doctor about the itchy.
Hey, I'm speaking clean. I'm talking about all the characters. You guys are the ones with the dirty minds and stuff.
We don't need the vapor rub this time around. We just need to talk about Dick Tracy figure.
That's right, Dick Tracy. I love Dick Tracy.
Y'all heard it here. Bobby loves Dick.
Don't start that, because that's going to get all over the place.
So
I can't shake the blushing stuff, so now you're going to make it that crap.
Be happy we continue the blushing stuff.
Yes,
I'm
happy
stuff.
with that. I'm thrilled with that compared to other shit that you guys can say.
So
Don't say
Danny
nothing else.
Danny was asking, didn't the writer say the story carries on in the Masterverse comics? What I read was from For Eternia mentioned the Masterverse comics because, of course, they do have the one cover. But it was one single tweet that I saw. I didn't see any other tweets from the writer. So just saying that it was not renewed.
And they did make a cameo at the end of the first issue, just in like a vision. So, but in my opinion, that's not enough. Like, I want to see a fourth season. I don't want to see just a cameo thing right now. So
I agree. Giraffe saying he doesn't need to light the pitchforks and head to Netflix headquarters. I mean, we all could, but what's it really going to get besides everybody tasered?
Yeah, Netflix.
Amazon could pick it up if it doesn't get renewed at Netflix. It really matters on the deal, business partnerships and such.
The contract.
Because, like Nickelodeon actually used to have a contract with Hulu. Then after Disney acquired Fox, they actually had a majority holdings in Hulu at that point. It's just kind of how it worked out. So then they actually pulled their content from Hulu and went with Netflix, which is why you see all the Nickelodeon stuff on Netflix now. Mm-hmm. And Dave bringing up that if they sit on the pot too long without putting something out, they lose it. And that's how it works. Yeah. And Sir Clifton saying he proudly doesn't pay Netflix a dime. This doesn't affect me in any way. Hey, you know what? That's all good. And saying same with the Spider-Man movies. Yep, they put one out every so often. Well, at least now they work the Spider-Man movies in with the main movies, so that's always nice. Yeah. Nolan says that they make a new. Are you?
I'm so bored with the superhero movies. Yeah, I've been done with them for a couple of years.
Yeah. So Nolan says if they make a new Dick Tracy movie, need to make it more realistic, less campy. That might be a neat take.
Well, the original comic strips, they're pretty violent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really violent.
Yeah.
I mean, they're showing bullets flying through guys' heads and people on fire. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, they didn't have the comics code when those were
right.
written.
Yeah,
same thing
early
with
on
the early
in the 30s. Yeah.
Same thing with Batman. Very early on, Batman is nothing like the Batman that we have now, and there definitely was no guns rule for Batman and no killing people rule. Yep. That was out the window back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Darth Dave saying that last TMNT series of live action / CGI was also because of that, but it turned out okay, not amazing. I gotta agree with him there. The last couple of TMNT CGI movies, I was really off on them at first, but they turned out all right.
I'm not a turtle fan. Never was.
Don't have that TURTLE power.
Mm-mm.
All right. So, Buddy's Customs was just saying about the Man of Steel. Some aspects Man of Steel didn't work with me, especially Jonathan Kent telling Clark maybe he should have let the kids on the bus die. That's not Pa Kent. Okay. And no one's saying
a whole laundry list. I won't get into it, but yeah, I'll talk to you off air about that because yeah.
We'll have to do an episode about it.
Oh, I'd be thrilled to talk Man of Steel because that thing drives me up the wall.
Okay. So Nolan's saying he pulled the plug on Netflix when they put the new policy into effect. It's like the policy about limiting the sharing and stuff, probably.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what he was talking about.
Same with Alfred abandoning Bruce in the Nolan trilogy. It's why he can't get into that series. Also, Bruce quitting for 10 years. It's so out of character.
I agree.
Yep. And Emerald Knight saying exactly, buddy, Batman wouldn't retire for 10 years. Got to agree with that.
That version, just real quick, that version of Batman, he always had that out from the beginning. And that was a really weird thing for me to watch in those movies. The whole, if I could become a symbol, anybody can be. It's like, no, Bruce Wayne would never let anybody else take it over. He is so driven. There's no way around it. He's that guy. He will die being Batman to protect the city. And it's like the Christian Bale version was like, I really want to have some Catwoman time right now. And I'm like, well, yeah, I would too, but you still got a city to rescue back home. Come on, dude. I mean, I get it's Italy, it's Anne Hathaway. I mean, I get it, but
resting for one day ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Yeah, well, resting for give yourself a week, 2 weeks, but you got to go back and at least. It's like you left Gordon and Robin.
Yeah.
Robin will die within the first day of donning the suit because that dude doesn't understand what the hell's going on. Anyway,
Right.
Sorry.
So Hillian Dredd stating that those original Ninja Turtle comics were gritty. They definitely were.
Seppuku.
Giraffe is asking, do you think they will try to do another Masters show to replace it?
Nope. I don't think so.
I really don't. I mean, we're going to get... They're working on Revolution, so that's great, because at least we know we still have that going on. I don't know what this means as far as the future of other Masters of the Universe in the media productions right now.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't think they would have another show yet.
Right. I
It
mean,
seems weird too. The timing, because they're saying the live action movie is going to happen on Netflix. And then they also have Revolution. It's like, why don't you just make another season or two of the CGI one to have as your trifecta of Masters on that service?
I agree. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Then Giraffe has come in saying, if they make a Dick Tracy 2, Madonna wouldn't need to sit in a makeup chair to make her face odd. Which
She's kind of scary now.
a little bit. Bit.
No, she died in the movie, so
You're right. She wouldn't be back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
no.
Well,
and
you don't know.
That character she played was Breathless Mahoney, and she also played the Blank. But the blank isn't like it is in the movie. They did that to trick people in the film.
Yep.
They're actually two separate characters. That's my nerd. That's me being a nerd for now.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Back to the regular
Dick Tracy
schedule.
Man of Steel episode.
That's right. Well, I got all the books. I could throw them all out and show you.
You just
Here's page 2
right here on Toy Frenzy. I think Revolution is done after this next season. It might be. We don't know. There's probably a pretty good chance. Again, like, even if it's not what you like about Masters, support it in some way. Put it on, even if you're not watching it. Because if we want this to stick around, we want this to keep coming. Look, Mattel has no problem putting Masters on the shelf. They do it a lot. Every time it's been restarted so far, they put it back on the shelf. If it doesn't get them that same response it got from 82 to 85, they start looking at putting it back on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, a lot of the problem that they're having right now when it comes to the toys is the distribution. They don't control Walmart and Target's distribution. There's this big misconception that it's Mattel's distribution that's messed up. No, Target and Walmart are getting the product in their distribution centers. It's not making it out to all the stores. I don't know what's going on there. You know, I mean, I can only speculate to some of it, but you know, it's just a crap distribution, which is why people are still seeing the same wave on shelves now.
It's been horrible since the beginning. So,
well, COVID was to blame in the beginning, at least. You know, the ships coming over from China with all the toys, but it's never recovered.
Right. That's what I mean. It's been since the beginning, so it's just as frustrating.
Motu Revolting continuing is just a kick in the nuts after Netflix just shot your dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed Revelations. You know, I certainly didn't hate it as much as other people seem to. And I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it. I think it's going to be an interesting story.
The animation was great. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was all right. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I watched it and I enjoyed it, but that was it.
Right. Now, Nolan also said there's talk about a new Biker Mice from Mars show. Now, I didn't really get into Biker Mice from Mars as much. I did think it was pretty cool, but it was kind of at a point where I was moving away from those because Power of the Force hit, and I was all about the Star Wars line.
Yeah.
So I'd strayed away from that. So my buddy's Custom says we've got the live action She-Ra show on Amazon coming. So maybe one of the shows going to Amazon could be easier than said because there's already a property over there. Well, the difference with that is the She-Ra entertainment rights and the He-Man entertainment rights are not one and the same. They're not exclusive. They are separate properties, which is kind of why Amazon picked it up after Netflix kind of dropped it.
It's kind of like the Marvel and Spider-Man shit, right?
Yeah. Yep. So the Dick Tracy cartoon would probably not fly in this day and age. I don't
know. I have the cartoon, and it's kind of inappropriate with some characters in there now for nowadays. But
adult animation is a big thing these days.
Yeah,
look at shows like Rick and Morty and stuff like that. You know,
I think a Dick Tracy cartoon would be fantastic if they kept it like the original strips.
Yeah,
like the violence and all that stuff. You know, I mean, the real deep. I mean, they're deep stories too. They're really good.
Oh yeah.
But I think it would work. I don't know how big. There's a lot of Dick Tracy fans out there, but I don't know how popular it would be. Kids wouldn't watch it. It would be more of the older fans. It's kind of like Planet of the Apes. You got that group of people that like it, and that's about it.
Right. Know? Well, it's kind of like Motu in that way. It's got this core group of fans that really love it and are really passionate about it. But you know, outside of that, it's not the big pop culture thing that it was when we were growing up.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
Something like Dick Tracy would work when they released Sin City, for instance.
Yes,
because it was in that kind of genre. Although Sin City was like so hyper insane, versus Dick Tracy could have been the alternative to that if they had like a series or something, and they could have revived it then, because that was probably what 10 to 15 years after anyway. If they wanted to go there. But
did you ever read those? I have the whole set.
I remember, like, I never really read Dick Tracy. I remember it in the Sunday Funnies when I was.
Oh no, I'm talking about Sin City.
Oh yeah, I read Sin City. I have read those, and it's like that noir vibe could be kind of cool to play on with Dick Tracy, since he didn't necessarily go there, but that would be a cool way to make it new at least, and have like a different take, and make it a little more like you're talking about, where you could be a little more violent with it and a more adult with it, and it could appeal to a different audience or a wider audience in that way.
Just watch out for the yellow bastard.
Oh, Bruce Willis handled that, and when I saw that in the theater, I was like, "Holy God, he did!" Oh my God.
He did.
I never thought I'd see that in a movie before.
No,
and they did those movies pretty close to the books. I mean, they're like right on.
They used the actual panels as the storyboard for the movie, and I thought that was fantastic, because some movies kind of tried to do that, kind of get that feel from it. But no, when they were doing this movie, they were just like, yep, here's the page, here's your panels, and this is how we're going to storyboard it out.
Right.
And that was probably one of the first comic movies where they legit did that.
Yes.
And that became something where other people were like, oh, we could do something like that, like 300 later on. Snyder was using it the same way as Rodriguez did with Sin City in certain parts.
300 was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it was at the what do you call it? The real big screen. And it was packed.
IMAX.
Yeah, the IMAX. And I had to sit in the front seat, right in the front row, because it was sold out, and I'm sitting like this. I had such a bad headache because that movie. I'm watching it this way, and I got to look this way. You know, it was crazy, man. So I had to go back and see it again. And I was able to sit in the back, and I love that movie.
Actually enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it.
All right. So Dave here mentions that he's sorry to pick on Man of Steel after we passed over it, but Lois Lane is a teleporter. She's everywhere in this movie somehow. And he mentions is when she walks down the steps of Grand Central Station to see Zod's death. I mean, they fought like crazy throughout Metropolis, and then she just happens to know exactly where he was. He's got a good point.
The way I agree completely. That is definitely a good point. And the other thing that drove me nuts was in the later movies, it was basically the King Kong syndrome with Superman. If Lois was in danger, he was gonna just go berserk the whole time. Like in Batman v Superman, I'm like, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. What the heck are they thinking? You're like she's his only tether to humanity or something. Like
Right.
he was raised by Ma and Pa Kent. He had friends growing up. He's got a little more humanity in him than just one woman in Metropolis that he just met recently, and that was always really weird too.
I agree. So Nolan is asking you, Bobby, and I know we've talked about this before, especially when they started showing them off. Are you getting the Mezco Tracy? He wants to know.
No. I knew about. They were announced like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or something like that. But no, I'm not going to get those. I think they're good looking. I mean, they're excellent looking. I know they got flat top, and now they just announced prune face as well.
Yep.
But I don't want to pay over $100 for an 8-inch or a 6-inch figure or whatever it is, 5 inches or something like that. It's expensive, so I'm passing on them.
Mezco are definitely up there in quality.
Yeah,
but I agree. If it's past your budget, past your price range, sometimes you just got to pass for it.
Yeah, I even wanted to get the Warriors from Mezco, but I passed that set. There's the Furies, and then they had the two Warriors.
Yep.
But I passed on that as well.
And that was tough to pass on.
Yes,
I love that set.
Yeah, if they came out with more of the gangs, I think it would have been a better if they were continuing. But
right,
I had to pass on it.
So this is back when we were talking again about the support for the brand and make sure that you support it and stuff like that. Payne saying that's how lines get canceled, that poor distribution and stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's true.
Bud chiming in saying, sadly, there are some people that would rather have no Mutu than newer stuff. Because we have people so in love with the vintage and that it's not vintage, it's trash. So they
That's
don't watch
true.
it or support it.
That is absolutely true.
I was wondering if Bobby was going to say something.
I'm kidding. I don't believe that.
No, I know you are, but I do know. Like I've been on here enough to know the vintage is definitely where your heart lies. So I'm not going to fight you on that.
Well, it has to be because that's what I grew up with. So yeah,
absolutely
right. So Thanos Copter, he said he was asking earlier, but did you guys see Roboto and Hypno popped up on EE for a few minutes today? I did not know that. I didn't manage to catch that one.
I haven't seen it either.
Man.
I haven't been looking either on those sites for a while.
Yeah. I try to stay away because then it just makes me want to click and spend. Mattel, I think, struggles at Motu advertising the most and hyping it up. Putting the name out there beyond putting out toys, getting it in people's face more, as it were. So,
I was going to say, sometimes it seems like they're just putting it out to the people that like it, and that's it. They're not trying to. They're not trying to expand it or put it out there. It's like, we know who wants this. This is what we're going to make it for. And
because they know we're the ones with the money too.
True. Like when they came out with Origins, I was like, so we were going back to the beginning again. And granted, yes, Origins, the name means that. But when I'm looking at it and I'm like, but that's not the aesthetics I'm looking at anymore for my collection. With like I'm more into like the NECA Ninja Turtles and Mythic Legions and the Classics line and stuff like that. And then when all of a sudden go, let's just go the whole way back to the beginning again, I was like, are you sure that's the answer? And in some ways, I'm sure that yes, it is to start out something. But there was that part of me that's like, but what if you tried to do something that's a little more adult collector friendly, like Masterverse, or even a little bit further, and see what happens? But and it perpetuated that thing of only the old stuff is what matters, in my opinion. And I was like, oh, all right, but I kind of want some new stuff too, personally. So,
well, and that's one of the reasons why I like the route that they did. They've got Origins for the people who like the vintage style.
Yeah.
We've got Masterverse for the people who want something newer.
Yeah.
If you want something that's more appropriate for the kids, you've got the CGI series with all the weird gimmicky play features, as well as, that cheaper price point that really sells to kids. I actually thought it was a really good idea to advertise to multiple markets. The only problem was they fell through on the advertisement part. I mean, one of the reasons that they are not doing is probably as well as they'd hoped is there's no advertising.
Yeah, which is mind-boggling.
We used to watch cartoons, and during the commercials, it would be about the toys. I know they put some restrictions on that over the years. But even into the 2000s, when I watched cartoons, if, catching whatever was coming on Saturday mornings, just checking out what the lineup is, they still had commercials for toys. Now you just don't see it anymore. And there are avenues where they could advertise. Think about it. There are legions of us. See what I did there? Of us on YouTube, where it's like, I wouldn't hate it if they, because they can put ads on my channel now, even without paying me for it. They don't need a partnership with them for them to put ads on your channel. And my content is now not meant for kids. Well, they could put toy ads on my channel. I don't care. And people could see that. I wouldn't mind. Go ahead, advertise the toys that I'm talking about. The other idea is that we're all talking about it, so we're kind of doing the advertising. But the problem is when you have people talking negatively about it too, you actively have people talking them out of toy lines. And that happens with a lot of things. Happened with even the Engine of Vengeance. I was just watching highly articulated turned me on to a YouTube channel, and I'll have to go back and see if I can find it. But they were having a big talk the other night, a couple days ago, about how people are actively talking people out of toys in some manners. Like, you don't enjoy what I enjoy, then, this kind of thing, and kind of talking people out of getting toys. And that's kind of an issue too. I mean, one of the things that I like about us is, even though we can say that we don't necessarily like something, we will also follow it up by telling you, but don't let that not make you like it. Go enjoy it. Have fun with what you like. If you like it, you like it.
Well, that's what I say. I'm always honest with my opinion, but just because I don't like something doesn't mean someone else doesn't have to like it.
I agree.
So, there's a lot of stuff I like that people can't stand. So,
Sure.
it's good. It could go both ways,
Well, absolutely. So, not everybody is meant for Guar.
Right.
think they're amazing. You think they're amazing. Sean seems to enjoy them just as much as we do.
That's why I put the Salamanizer on my name right there.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Let's full screen that so everybody can know that Bobby is the Salamanizer. Right there, folks. Just
I'm
for
the
you.
Salamanizer.
But I mean,
no, I'm one of those people where it's like I'm not buying any of the lines, so I'm one of those crappy fans in that way. But I'm also somebody going, but just because I'm not into these doesn't mean you can't enjoy them and all that. Bobby or wait, but my buddy's customs. We talked about that last week after the show, and it's it's like, why would I tell somebody if they love it that they're wrong? That's stupid. Like, enjoy what you enjoy.
Yep.
It's your collection, it's your money, and it's stuff that matters to you. That, like, my wife could take one look at what's on my shelves and go, I'm getting rid of this the day you die. And I'm like, fine, because you don't love it. I get it. But it's like, why would I tell somebody who enjoys something they're wrong? They're not. So,
exactly.
Whatever gives anybody the right to tell anybody they're wrong about something like that. It's if somebody else enjoys this, then why would you try to tell them not to? There's no need for that. They can enjoy what they like. You can enjoy what you like. I'm not going to tell you you can't like something. That's not how it works.
if anything, if somebody tells me I'm not allowed to like something, I dig in even more because that's the 5 and 6-year-old in me, and it's like,
yeah.
You want to do this? Do you really want to do this?
Right. I get myself in trouble with that too, where I say I don't want people to say this, but I actually mention that, and then you're like, okay, now they're going to keep saying it to me. So
Right.
I got to keep myself quiet sometimes.
Yeah. So everybody's chiming in, and again, they're talking about that they've enjoyed the shows, new themes they address, changes is eternal and growth is net positive. I agree.
Yeah.
They need to grow, otherwise it dies. Right. That's
Exactly.
what happens when you don't grow. Right.
Yep.
Loving Revelations, found myself loving Revolution because of more possible Masterverse figures. I gotta agree, those figures keep looking better and better. Eldor is talking about the want for more fantasy, in the world right now. Yeah, it's a big, big hit. They really, really have gotten into, fantasy again.
That Rings of Power was good too with the did you see that?
No, I unfortunately did not see that.
Okay. It's good. So if you ever get a chance, watch it.
Even tonight, I saw there was a news thing saying New Line is going to be making more Lord of the Rings movies.
Really?
That was mind blowing to me because I'm like, well, what would they? I don't know what they could do next. They already did The Hobbit. They did Lord. It's like, okay, so are these going to be like almost Star Wars? How Disney Plus does it, where here's an offshoot of something, and they're going to tell a story that maybe wasn't ever a novel or something, and they just make a multiverse, or not a multiverse, but a universe out of the Lord of the Rings. I'd be curious to see what they do there because I'm not a hardcore Lord of the Rings guy, but those movies were freaking great. Yeah. So if they even remotely capture that feeling again, I will show up and watch those.
Well, that's how Rings of Power is. They captured the just like the movies. You could play it along with the movies. It fits it right in with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
The Witcher is good too.
Witcher is really good. Yeah. I'm a little sad that Henry Cavill stepped down, but
yeah. We'll see how
it's
that ends.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not too worried about it because the writing really drives that show. He's doing an amazing performance. I'm not
he's
talking
great.
down
He's
about
Geralt.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
But I think the show can still carry on. It might not be as good, maybe, but it'll still be fun to watch.
Know. Yeah, always got to give it a chance.
Can Liam Hemsworth put as much emphasis into his as
right?
That will be the telling part. Because that man, he makes a meal out of just that noise whenever he needs to do it on the show. And there's so many people like, yeah, that works. Because that's that bitch, please, except it's.
So this is actually it's being asked directly to Sean because Emerald Knight knows that you've got Mondo, as you've talked about.
Yeah.
But Bobby, I think this is also a good one for you because Trapjaw is your favorite. So who's picking up the Mondo Trapjaw?
I have to pass, unfortunately.
I have to see what they have it as a March 7th, 48-hour time limit on it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just gonna put it that way. My main goal with Mondo was I want Deluxe He-Man, I want Battle Cat, I want Deluxe Skeletor, and I wouldn't mind Panther either. So anything else, and already I've overshot because I got Anti-Eternia He-Man coming to me. So there's a part of me going, Trapjaw, cool, but the other part of me is like, you know how much money you're in already on this?
Yeah, it's
expensive. You didn't get the Deluxe Skeletor, you didn't get the Panther yet.
Yep.
So I have to decide how suicidal I am on the 7th. I guess is the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't have $250+ to get it.
They didn't release a price point on him, did they?
No, I'm assuming that's what it's going to be because that's how all the other ones were priced. It's around $250.
I mean, they have it where there's a working piston in his arm.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff, like I'm sure it isn't like the same way as like a manufacturing or whatever, but there is like the articulation on that arm is ridiculously, like you can move it all sorts of around. I saw on the video, and I'm like, you can't even do that with the regular arm. on a He-Man. So like that's crazy. And there's the piston area for the up and down movement, which if you do that enough, I'm in trouble tonight. But yeah, I mean it's a pretty cool figure, but I don't know. I almost feel like they're missing some of the original aesthetics that worked with Deluxe He-Man. This one is still kind of going in the Mondo way in that way. And so I kind of wish it would just go like old school a little bit more,
Yeah.
if possible. Based on like the from the waist down, I feel like they Mondoized them. From the waist up, he looks more like Trapjaw the way I'd hope Trapjaw would. So,
Yeah, he's a good looking figure. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Gorgeous. Best version of Trapjaw I've ever seen. Like, I love everything about it.
Yeah.
No way in hell can I afford that.
Yeah.
Like, my top tier price range for most stuff is like right around the Headless Horseman price. You know,
How much was that?
125.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. For the first
Yeah,
one and
around
the
there.
new one that's coming to retail, that's going to be
I think that one's
140.
only like 15 more or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
around there.
140. And that drops on the first. I mean, it's a pre-order, so we got time before that clears. But I mean, that ain't cheap. That ain't cheap.
And also, that's a freaking awesome looking variant figure.
Oh my god, yeah, one of the
that
best.
It's like that. When I saw that, I'm like, did I really have to go in on the original? Can I just get them the old one and go, I just want the new one, please, thank you, and just get the new one?
Yeah, is there an exchange policy?
Is there an exchange program for my Headless
Like,
Horseman?
can I turn mine in and get the green? I mean, I really didn't want that to be a thing. Like, you know, I've got it. It's a beautiful looking figure, and then it's like now here's this other amazing one coming.
Yeah,
Bobby, what do you think about that one?
What's that? What is that one? What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Bobby, God, what did you look at?
Nothing. Nothing.
Ooh, some got him all flustered and distracted. He went off the show.
Yeah, I apologize.
Rule 34 Tila.
Yep.
Oh, the Tila figure?
No, we were talking about the Headless Horseman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
What do you think about that new one?
I liked it a lot, but I couldn't afford to get it. But when I first saw it, I was blown away because I love the Headless Horseman.
Yeah,
I read the book or the short story or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I love that stuff. But plus, I'm a big Halloween fan too, so I like pumpkins and things like that. So and pumpkin-headed people. So
right.
yeah, it's a cool. Yeah, I was jealous when you got it. Not jealous, but I mean, I was like, that's cool.
It's an amazing centerpiece for a collection.
Yeah,
like he's good on his own.
Yeah,
and now it's like I kind of want the other one too. Like,
yeah.
How do I do this?
The thing about the new one that made it even more desirable for a lot of people is now it has glow in the dark paint added to the horse. So you turn out the lights and you have the glowing eyes and the hooves are glowing now. And
That's
all this
cool.
stuff, and it's
And
like
it
that's
looks
all sorts
a
of like
it looks like there's a little bit in the mane too.
probably, yeah, just to give you that like I mean everything that you can do to make it feel like that Walt Disney cartoon and give you that like oh crap, the minute that Ichabod sees him in there, it's like yeah, bring it.
Right. I agree. So Brick something has showed up for the night. How you doing, Brick? Glad to have you here. And Dave ended up rolling out here saying, later, gents, later, boss man. I've told this guy for years, I'm not your boss anymore. You don't have to call me that. He still calls me boss. I think now he does it just to rub it in.
It sticks.
Absolutely love you, Davey. Thank you, brother. Yeah, and on our use 83 saying, rest in peace, Saturday morning cartoons. My kids never will know about them. Well, there's plenty of websites. You go out there, you can grab the cartoons and you can make your own for the kids and sit down with some cereal. Sit down with some cereal and then go for it. My buddy's Customs coming on with Dole's best quote ever: never yuck someone else's yum. I agree. Never do it.
Never gonna leave. Yeah.
Guar is for everybody. I agree.
Damn straight.
Anyone else see a glowing beam of light hitting Classics Grayskull? You know,
I do, yeah.
Apparently, I'm in a J.J. Abrams movie tonight, and I have a feeling it was because of me just going overboard on the intro, and I probably smudged my camera.
Oh, I see.
And at this point, me trying to clean that off is going to look ridiculous, and I'll just stick with it. And hey, open for business.
Yeah, now we're getting
special effect.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're getting real
Specters.
fancy here at Toy Frenzy. Special effects.
Yeah. Special effects.
So my buddy's Customs, the whole reason for tonight's intro was probably because he was listening to Guar.
Oh, cool. Which album?
Nolan saying,
see, I listen to albums. I don't listen just to songs. I listen to a full album. So
right.
I'm old school. Yeah.
Old school. Still flipping to the B-sides too.
Yep.
All right. So again,
that's true.
A lot of in talking here, and Classics Jitsu on Night Stalker is like a cherry on top to that Classics Grayskull. When your wife gets rid of your stuff, let me know. Giraffe's in here trying to hawk collections from people when they pass.
I don't blame them.
So Brick something saying Masterverse lured me full bore into the action figure collecting. Loves that line. Hell yes, Bobby. Rings of Power was amazing.
Yes, it was. It was great.
Absolutely, I agree. Buddy's Custom saying it would be amazing if they did the first age in Lord of the Rings. So there we go.
Wow.
See, you can see how far behind we are because we're still trying to catch up with all of these.
Yeah.
He had at least
one. It's in the Silmarillion or whatever how you ever pronounce it.
Silmarillion. There it is.
There you go. Right.
So there we go.
Silmarillion. Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
Silmarillion.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't pronounce shit.
So hopefully Trapdoll doesn't have the QC issues He-Man had. Again, I'm thinking that a lot of that had to do with Chinese New Year and them just trying to rush things out and get it out. So, I'm not too upset over those QC issues. That's going to happen when you're not taking the best care. But yeah, hopefully now everything will be good.
And as far as I know, Mondo has made it right to as many collectors as possible. I haven't heard too many people having problems once they got their QC approved ones.
They have definitely been going above and beyond for everybody.
Yeah.
And Dutch is saying that she loves the glow in the dark feature. I agree. Absolutely. Headless Horseman will take up the budget for March because he has his second Serpentor shipping soon.
Wow.
Hey, man, sometimes you just got to pick up. Pre-order on Tongue Lasher is still up apparently on EE for anybody who's looking. So that's definitely something you could do. So we were supposed to be talking about memories here, and all we're talking about is the latest news. But you know what? That's okay, though, because we're making new memories as we go here, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest things that I can do now is share all these amazing toys with my son. And, he's already been informed that when Dad eventually goes, like 300 years from now, everything will pass down to him, and he will get this awesome collection as well. So, I mean, it's really fun to be able to have that legacy to go on with the family. The fact that he's having fun and he's passionate with it now, he's even jumped on a couple of lives with me on Saturday mornings. I think that's, great. I'm glad that he's into that. I'm hoping 10, 20 years from now, he's still into it. He may not be. And you know what? That's okay too. He doesn't have to, because if he starts enjoying other stuff, I'm certainly not going to stop him from liking that. But it'd be really cool if it's something that he and I were to continue to share going into the future. So my buddy's Custom saying, don't take the Mega J approach and know the issue and test it out on your own figure. I'm sorry, Jay, they're not Origins figures. Don't try to rip them in half.
Sure.
And Thanos Copter saying, I felt so bad for Jay watching that. I agree. That was pretty rough. I don't know if you guys watched Mega J when he did that.
No.
But you know how we all ripped a Grizz?
Yep.
Don't rip a Mondo He-Man. Just don't rip a Mondo He-Man. It's not meant to do that.
No. The most that I did. Oh, go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead.
I'm just the most I did was I twisted mine just to see if it actually had the problem. And once I got to a certain point, I'm like, I'm good, and I just put it back on the shelf. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna worry about it. I tried it once. Usually it's a one time, the very first time when people do it, and that's when it falls apart or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it worked. I'm good. I'm gonna put it back on the shelf. Happiness ensues. So yeah.
So, Sean, you're still getting the Battle Cat too, right?
Yes, that is definitely in the pipeline.
When
Anti-Eternia He-Man and Deluxe Skeletor whenever he gets pre-ordered.
eventually gets out.
Notice. Yeah.
So, when is the expected date for Battle Cat?
I don't even know. I forget when the pre-order for him even was right now. But I mean they promised like with Deluxe He-Man
Mm-hmm.
and She-Ra, it was supposed to be like this month.
Right. Yeah, it
And then
was
they
supposed to
showed
be.
up 2 months early. And so I'm like, okay, Battle Cat might be maybe this summer, I'm guessing, around then. Because it was like less than a year and then He-Man showed up. I think the pre-order for that was like really close to Father's Day. So, because that's actually both my wife and my mom were like, "What would you like for Father's Day?" And I had no idea what to tell them. And then when that came up, I go, "Well, there's," and then they're like, "Yeah, for that price point, we don't love you that much." I'm like, "Oh man, you guys suck." So, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So going in with tonight's little horror theme at the beginning here, saying on quiet star-filled nights, I too hear the scream.
Yeah.
Jay always has some epic lines to go on streams. Closed out live streaming on 2022 with "Oh shit."
yeah.
He will forever live in infamy for going out in 2022 with "Oh shit."
Yeah.
So
Expected in May. Huh?
Joe Amato saying, "Yep, is expected to ship in May. Guess we will see. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it in March since they're going 2 months ahead.
That's pretty crazy if that happens.
Hopefully, he won't fall apart
Yeah.
in the middle." But again, yeah, like Giraffe saying here, Mondo has been insane with replacing things. Though didn't even ask for a new She-Ra head, and they're sending him one. And that's what they're taking full ownership of this, and they're being like, "We're sorry," and they're shipping them out. And when people are getting I forget who it was posted on IG, the new one they got in, as soon as they pulled it out, like the legs fell off the torso, which wasn't even one of the QC issues they had to begin with. There's a good possibility it happened in transit that the legs broke. And they're like, "We're sending you another one. It's coming right now." And he's getting yet a third torso essentially at that point. But I think that's great. I really think that's great that they are trying to take care of their customers as much as possible. People remember that. People will continue to go back to you when they realize if they had a problem and you fixed it for them, like you made sure you could do everything you could to satisfy that customer, people remember that and they come back. So, I mean, I got to agree. I think that's really, really awesome that they're doing that. And Thanos Copter talking about the Mondo cats are so amazing. I thought the classics cats were like the pinnacle of what we could get. And then Mondo came along and was just like, "Hold my beer."
Well, the thing that gets me too is like the classics cats are about half the price of the Mondo one if you go to the eBay and all that stuff. Because for the longest time, you couldn't get Panther for anything under 250 to 300. And that was mind blowing for me because I came in so late into the line that I'm like, how am I ever doing this? Like, how am I ever figuring out how to get some of these figures on my shelf? But yeah, so I don't know. That's the weird thing. My mentality because of classics changed in how I collect because those numbers don't scare me if I want it bad enough. Like I'll sell something else in a line that I'm not as worried about anymore or whatever. That's just how I look at it all the time. But yeah, eventually you start cannibalizing your collection, and that sucks. So you have to know where to pull back. And I want it so bad, I'll give you, like this stove, or And then you're like, oh shit, why did I give up Fisto?
Fisto
Now I gotta
for
find Fisto later. I should get fisted for losing Fisto. So,
God.
Yeah, I'll take Joe up on that offer as long as he doesn't whisper sweet nothings in my ear. I'll be all right.
Oh, you know he's gonna come in real close and like lick the bottom earlobe and stuff.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Especially at a convention too. You don't know where he's been at that point.
Coming out of that mask. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
My
motherfucker.
tongue keeps getting stuck in the mouth plate. It's maddening.
Oh,
What are you supposed to be, Hank? I am the bat.
why do I need a coupon? I can't just get a hug. Jeez. I have to have a coupon. I got to stand in line for that shit.
Yeah, you do, man. They charge extra for it.
I guess so.
That's why you get that free hug coupon.
At least he'll send it to me. That's nice of him.
That is nice though.
A free one. So I don't have to pay like everybody else does, right? As long as you don't, as long as you don't touch his head, I guess keep that mask on.
That's right. Tonight, keep the mask on.
Oh man, this dude's fucking nuts.
Oh, must have sent something off air there.
Oh,
wait a minute. Nope, there it is in the
Yep.
chat now. I see it.
Yep.
So first off, I'm gonna go with giraffes. The first
Sweet
hug is
nothings.
free. Sweet nothings will cost you. And then let's do it. My tongue will slip through my mask
Oh,
and get
awful.
that earlobe. Oh,
Shit, now I'm gonna have to get some fucking rubber gloves and shit. Stay away, man.
he'll just come up to you. Where's that dick in a box? He's like,
I'll wear my headphones.
wear your headphones the whole time. Yeah. Pretend you're live streaming so that way at
Whole
least
way
it makes it look legit.
Yeah, right. I'll walk around like-
USB cord dangling behind you, not plugged into anything.
I'm on the Wi-Fi right now. Leave me alone.
I'll carry my laptop like I
Yeah.
What? Can't hear you. Streaming. Noise canceling.
Why is your screen blank? Oh, I forgot to turn it on. Damn, I've been streaming for an hour and nobody's watching nothing.
I was wondering why I couldn't see the chat.
Can't see nothing. Now I'm gonna be sitting there thinking, oh Jesus Christ. Fucking modulok with the tongue coming out.
It'll be like that makes me think of when I was a kid. The thing that scared the living hell out of me was did either of you remember V?
Yeah. Yep.
The television series, and like the night where they revealed that the people were
Yes.
lizard aliens, and like I remember like they pulled the mask off the guy and there's the face.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden there's the forked tongue coming out, and
Right.
I lost it and I ran away from the TV because I think I was only like 5 when that thing aired. I
Yeah.
did not expect that. And then my dad was a complete asshole that night, and he started chasing me around the house, laughing at me. And every time he found me, he goes at me, and I was like screaming right to the next room. And it was my mom eventually like had to like stand in front of me and go, "Stop it!" at him because he was like laughing maniacally because he could make me scream and run all over the house. And like at the end of the day, I'm like, my dad's an asshole. What the hell is wrong with you?
Or that one episode where the human was having a baby and it ended up coming out as the lizard.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that was messed
And that
up
was
too.
what's
Ugh.
his name? The father of that.
Beastmaster.
I thought it was what's his face?
Well, I know Beastmaster was on the show.
Robert
I
England.
maybe-
Yeah, Robert England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Yep.
I forgot he was on that, but yeah, it's like Beastmaster's on here and he can't control the space. What the crap is wrong with you people? Get your ferrets and fight these guys, dude. Come on. So yeah.
Oh shit.
So here we go.
It's just like enough with the nonsense.
Speaking of V toys coming from Ramen Toys.
That is insane that just hooked up that way. I did not know that.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? Ramen Toys is doing amazing things. Definitely check them out on YouTube. They just showed off today. Brave Star, the Marshal is
Yeah.
coming.
The Marshall.
I was
So-
never big on Brave Star.
No, I actually, it was one of those ones where I wasn't as big into it as, I was like He-Man or even Thundercats necessarily.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it for what it is. And I think it's really awesome.
Well, I think that came out when I was in high school, so I didn't really watch anything at that time.
Right. Yeah,
I
you'd
missed
kind of
that
gotten to
one.
that point.
Yeah.
And
missed that
Brick
completely.
something saying that he shared a render of Diana in progress. He's talking about Ace specifically from Robin Toy. Great guy, by the way. Fun to hang out and talk with. Just the projects that they have going on at Ramen Toy. What I love about it is that they're working on stuff that nobody else is trying to bring back, or bringing back in maybe not so great a fashion. Looking at you, Super 7 with your Silverhawks.
Yeah.
So-
Silverhawk sucks.
And kind of, hey. Silverhawks was fun, okay? Everybody had that bird. It was great. But the, going back to tonight's topic and talking about, some of these great passions and the Specters of the past, like, he's bringing to light a lot of toys that people were big fans of, but there's just not as big of a following as maybe He-Man. He-Man took over the toy market for most of the 80s.
Yeah.
With some good other contenders too. Transformers was just as big.
Yep.
G.I. Joe definitely comes to
Mhm.
mind. So I mean, like, there was a lot of big heavy hitters. So a lot of these other toy lines kind of got under the, kind of brushed under the rug there a little bit. So I think it's really great that he is where we've seen revivals of other toy lines. We've definitely gotten Thundercats now coming from Super 7. He-Man gets rebooted every couple of years and then it goes away for about 10 and then it comes back. And, Ninja Turtles almost feels like it's never left the market.
I don't think it ever has.
Yeah. I mean, it may have taken short respites, but then it's only like a
Yeah.
year or two later before somebody's putting it back in the toy shelves.
Mhm.
Same thing with Transformers. Transformers is like never really left because pretty much when like the old original stuff started coming off, the Beast Wars stuff started coming out. And then there was this rekindling going into some of the other Transformers. They've always reinvented themselves. But certain cartoons never get that reinvention. Mask, Bobby, I know you're a fan.
Yes, big time.
Ramen Toys is making Machina. If you were into, oh God, and I can't think of the actual name for it now. But he's doing like, Centurions, because he's doing the
Centurions.
Commanders.
Yeah.
And,
That's
he's
a good
got that
cartoon.
coming out. Yeah, it's really good.
Mhm.
Really good. And kind of twisted too. I mean, you all know I'm a sucker for like biomechanical stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
everything with that was
Yeah,
just,
the villains, yeah.
oh man, so twisted. Like really, really great. But yeah, like he's bringing these back. I mean, it costs. And, it's great though to see that somebody is paying lineage. I'm waiting for him to start doing the Visionaries. But I know that hologram stuff is really, really expensive. And Nolan is campaigning right along with me to try and bring back Dino Riders. Now, Cyberzoic is kind of getting close to it. We're just missing the actual riders. But Cyberzoic's really good. So Brick was also jumping in here saying sympathize with the lizard baby. Yeah, okay. So they're talking more about V. Got it. And Giraffe's talking about Morena Baccarin in the newer V series made me cheer for the baddies. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I fell in love with her.
It sucked that they I didn't like that they ended that show. I was waiting for another season. And that's when they had that strike and all that shit. So they canceled a lot of shows. And then that V was good. I liked it. That new one. It was real good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to hold up. Now, mind you, like, again, the original one was pretty cool for the time, but it was very camp, like comparatively now. And that's what I liked about the new one, because it got rid of that campiness kind of thing to it and really brought it back to how the original one felt at the time, because it didn't feel as camp at the time.
Right. Oh, of course.
So Silverhawk's guitar solo in the intro is iconic. I can agree with that. It was definitely, I mean, all the cartoons back then had iconic intros.
Yes. Yep.
You know, saying the battle beasts were great. You darn right they were. Can't type tonight. I understand. That's why I'm clicking on things. So Brick Something says Cyberzoic looks like it'll have riders based on the concept art. Super anime style though, and I'm here for it. You know what, Brick? I'm right there beside you, buddy. You know you and I have such similar tastes when it comes to these beasts and things like that. The dragons that they're doing for Cyberzoic, the homages they've done for the dinosaurs they've already put out from different series. And again, the ones that are coming with all the armor and everything else, it's just crazy to look at. I know we've showed it off here a little bit. We showed it off on Ostradamus Toys. That's a great line. Go check out Beasts of the Mesozoic, and now they got the Cyberzoic coming out, which is going to be really cool. So Fire Station. I'm trying to read everything I can here and bring it up. I know there's a lot of in talking going on too, and it's like I've missed some parts of whatever conversation's going on here. You know, we got the whole civil defense like siren sounded, and he climbed up a walnut tree so fast, and man, I don't know what was going on with Master Bristol, but I gotta tell you, it sounded like some crazy stuff was happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, he's climbing up the walls and stuff. Woof.
Well, even like from the ghosts that we're talking about, the Specter stuff. I mean, going to the Horsemen, even the Horsemen tried to do that and do Power Lords again, and that didn't go over nearly as well the second, because I remember having those when I was a kid. I had Adam Power, and I don't remember all the names to the other characters anymore, but they did bring that back out again a few years back, but unfortunately it didn't get too far. And it's like I was one of those kids in the 80s where I had a toe in almost most of the toy lines that came out during the 80s. And I do consider myself lucky for that, but I also am like, I'm remembering stuff like they had RoboForce.
Yeah.
And if our Nacelle is doing like the revised Max Robo stuff, and when I saw that, and I'm like, that's cool. That like that's a line that I still remembered when I was a kid, and I had probably like 3 or 4 of those. And basically, their only thing, you just pushed a button on the back, and their arms just did this. And I was like, that was good enough for me as a 3 or 4-year-old playing with these hunky, chunky robots. And then the other one I remember, and to this day I still think they were fun, was Stariors.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many people might remember those anymore, but and those the other cool thing was they had pilots in the cockpits on those. And as a kid, I would look at those and just be like, it's a little man. That's just so cool.
Right.
Like they thought ahead to put the little man, because like when I got into Transformers, I was like, where's the little man? Because they didn't have any like drivers and all that. It was weird for me when I first discovered those. But Stariors, they were right there from the get.
Yeah, I think my friend had a Starior. I think he only had one, and I think that none of us had them, but he had the one.
I like the designs. I thought those were really, really cool, and each of them had like a feature in the chest. There was like something in the chest that would happen.
Yeah,
you wind it up, and then it would like shoot guns or.
I think he had some like a spiral, or it was something.
Yeah, like a drill or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I had a few of those, and then you could also like pop and swap the parts. So you could pop the head, the arms, and the legs off, and you could combine them with other ones and create a whole new character and stuff. So as a kid, that was just like awesome, just to be able to, hey, I got a couple of them, let's go crazy. Yeah,
we used to play with the Micronauts too. Yeah, they were good, the big ones.
So Payne's Toy Samples bringing up the fact that he sent me a line that could be like Dino Riders Light. And it's really interesting, the one that he sent me. This is actually the Robo Alive Dinosaurs line, but it appears they're putting armor on the dinosaurs. So just to kind of show it off here once it pops up, it's running a little slow. That right there is their T-Rex. Now, Connor has a cool uncle Chris and another friend actually got the RoboLive regular T-Rex. They did one in this coloration and then they did in a green coloration. So now it looks like they're using those same molds and adding more to it. So that is really cool, and it is very similar to like Dino Riders and how they look. So thank you very much for sending that to me. I do appreciate that, Pains. Excellent.
Fabulous.
And in the chat here, because I like how it keeps exploding every few minutes, and then it's like, it's not. Some internet is running extremely slow.
Yeah, you got to stop showing things.
Yeah, that always messes with it. I thought I had stopped sharing it there, but apparently came.
So what did you do with the rubber sheets and the mannequins?
What's in the box?
Well, I mean, if you really want
to. Ventriloquist doll, is that what you're using the rubber gloves with?
Oh, God.
Well, you know, because you got to get the one hand all the way up in there.
That's what I mean. It's got to be slick. Right?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's that sound that makes goes. It's in.
Oh, shit. Well, that joke went nowhere. I'm trying to liven it up a little bit. It just died.
Keep going, Bobby. Keep going.
Last time that happened, we ended up traveling back to it how many times? So it's warming up. We're getting there.
All right.
We're getting warmed up. You know, an hour and 30 minutes into the show, we're getting a little warmed up. It's getting a little hot in here.
I'm 44. I need to stretch out every time I do anything. So yeah, it takes me a little while to get anywhere lately.
You guys are young yet.
It's funny, y'all keep telling me how young I am, and it's like, God, I'm old. But yeah, 30, I'm the youngest one here. So
you're not old, man. Jeez.
Oh no, I'm a young man. I haven't even hit 40 yet. Living that life. So Brick's saying that he was hyped for the Four Horsemen's Power Lords line. Never had those toys as a kid, but I was really into the designs. Four Horsemen took it to the next level. Too bad, but hey, they seem to have pivoted to Cosmic Legions, which I agree. Mm-hmm. That's great. So let's see here. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes. He was replying to Bobby regarding the V scene where Donovan unmasks the visitor officer there. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good reason to be running and climbing up a tree.
Yeah. That's the new thing.
It's like my dad laughing so high pitched because he thought it was hysterical to watch his 5-year-old son running from him screaming. That was like, geez. You'd think I'd need more therapy than I do right now.
Well, that's why we have toy therapy. That's what this is. You know, toy anxiety was here earlier, and you know now we're doing a little bit of toy therapy. So
I barely remember Saber Rider. Barely.
Right. I don't remember Saber Rider as much, but I do remember Star Sheriffs.
I don't know either of those.
Comeback movie or show plus figures. That would be cool. And Brick having chimed in saying the Stariers were rad. I think there was a connection to Zoids, which I thought were even better. Zoids was definitely a really cool toy line. I don't know if you guys are familiar at all with them.
No.
I remember the name, but that's one that I did not have much. I don't think I had any Zoids when I was a kid.
Well, because it came over from Japan. Mind you, by the time the ones that we would have got here in the States at the time were like the real basic models. You could pick them up kind of like at the dollar store, but they were little kits, like little model kits that you put together, and they had like little pilots that sat in them, and they had like mechanized features for a lot of them, like wind-up gears, but you put it together yourself. And then like late 90s, early 2000s, when anime started hitting big again and they were putting that on Toonami, they brought Zoids back into that.
Mhm.
And then it got real popular here in the States. God, fantastic fun toys. If you guys are ever into model building, they're really neat. A lot of them have like motorized or mechanized functions, so there's like some actual engineering involved. Plus, you can customize them and stuff too. They were one of those toy lines where you could buy an accessory kit and add it to several different versions. Like you didn't just have to add it to this one version or that version. You could put it with almost
Mhm.
any. So that was really neat. And Masterversal Toy Hunter bringing up that the Cocoon movie was the movie that freaked him out as a kid. Seeing that film for the first time, I liked that, man. I liked Cocoon, and Cocoon too. Let me see here. Chris Starr, that was
Chris
another great one.
Star.
It was another good
Loved
one.
Chris Star when I was a kid.
Had a great playset too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that one at all.
You don't remember Chris Starr? Oh man,
Mm-mm.
it was good stuff. Jason the Wheeled Warriors, Sectars, Mantiforce. At least Sectars is kind of getting a comeback,
Yeah.
which is really nice. I wish they bring back the puppets too, because like most of the vintage ones, like the puppet ones anyway, they're like all falling apart now.
Yeah.
The wings on those things were so fragile that it was amazing if they lasted a year.
Yeah.
Right.
I had like I think most of the bugs, unless the bugs didn't have wings, you might as well figure those wings are gone.
Oh God,
So
yeah.
unless you kept it mint in box for 30 to 40 years now,
Yeah,
almost
and
40.
good luck. Even then, that plastic was brittle to begin with.
Yeah. But that was the thing. Like for me, like looking at that line, it reminded me of like the She-Ra line because there was this when you saw the wings, they had that like rainbow effect on them. Like when you put them into light, there was just like the rainbow spectrum going across those, and it made me think of like the She-Ra and the Crystal vibe in that line and all that. And it was so 80s. The minute I see those, it just makes me start smiling and then I go to holographic stickers that I had in my sticker books as a kid and all that stuff. It all just full circle.
Right?
Spiral Zone is awesome.
Spiral Zone. Talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit more, Bobby. That I'm not as familiar with.
it's I didn't see the whole thing yet, but I've seen a few of the episodes, and I've been. It's not on. You can't get it on DVD or nothing, but you can watch it on YouTube, and it has. It's like it's hard. I can't explain it because I got to rewatch it. Yeah. Now I'm on the spot on it. And I said it's awesome. And here I can't fucking explain the damn thing, But
It's so awesome. It's
like
left
it's
you
like
speechless.
well, they got this dome that like covers the city, and these they take over. Everybody turns into like these zombies. It's cool. And I don't know the whole story yet. Like I said, I didn't see the whole thing yet, so I gotta finish watching it. But
what you saw, you liked.
yeah, what I saw, I liked, and it's really neat. Yeah, it's not available anywhere. You got, like I said, it's ripped off of VHSs or something on YouTube, so you can't get it on DVD. I don't think anybody owns the rights to it anymore. But yeah, check it out if you can. I got to finish watching it. I think I watched like the first 5 episodes, and it's really good so far. But
Okay. Very
yeah.
cool. Well, I will definitely be trying to check that out. My buddy's Customs had brought up Street Sharks, which, that was supposed to be like one of those things that kind of took down the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, supposed to be like jumping in on that whole mutant action. Street Sharks and then Extreme Dinosaurs. Those were some pretty neat toy lines. And the third trifecta of, you had Thundercats, you had the Silverhawks, and then the Tiger Sharks.
Yeah.
So, that was the trifecta of those lines. Tiger Sharks were pretty neat, but again, it was really lather, rinse, repeat from the other ones. Like they found this pattern that worked, and you can only stretch it across so many different shows.
Well, the problem I had with Tiger Sharks as a kid was it was attached to the show called the comic strip. And when you watched that show, there were like 3 or 4 different options. So it was like this weird a la carte version of a cartoon. And I would show up hoping Tiger Sharks would be on, and then I got Karate Cat, and I'm like, oh fuck you. Like I don't care about Karate Cat. I want to watch Tiger Sharks. And it was like hit or miss if they'd even be on half the time. So, like that bugged me a lot. And the theme song for that one was nowhere near as cool as Thundercats or Silverhawks either.
Yeah.
That one for me, when I was a kid, I was like blinking you missed it, and it was probably better that you missed it because it was a bad theme song compared to the other of the trifecta at least. But I like the designs, like the designs of the good guys and the bags. I actually thought they were pretty fun considering what it was, and it was that whole let's jump into a fish tank and turn into fish people. And I'm like, that is a little easier to digest than thinking there's cat people and people who went through crazy RoboCop altering themselves to be Silverhawks for outer space. That thing when I was a kid freaked me out more than other toy lines because I'm like, I could never imagine just donating myself to that kind of a cause. And like they tell you, we're gonna just do all this crazy stuff with your body so you can breathe in outer space and all that.
Yeah,
You're
right.
like, that's just nuts. But,
Right?
yeah.
Absolutely. So I wanted to jump through the chat here because we got a couple other people just joining us tonight. We've got Figuratively Speaking has joined in with us. Good to have you here. He's got some great videos coming on his channel, doing a bunch of fun lives with unboxings. Please definitely go check him out.
Yeah, check it out.
New to the chat, who I'm not recognizing, is Jay Andrew with us tonight, saying he used to watch Spiral Zone before school.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here, Jay Andrew. Good to have you. Thanks for joining in on the chat. And then Mega J Retro in the house with us tonight.
Hey, Jay.
Snake Mountain confirmed, $80. So,
Okay.
talking about Specters of the Past, Snake Mountain is coming to us that we all know. That was confirmed for this fall. And apparently they have now confirmed the price point on it. And Jay giving us a big shout out saying, great stream, boys. Thank you, Mega J. Appreciate you being here as well. If you all have not seen this ad that Vin Diesel did for Street Sharks, it is hilarious.
They live their life a quarter mile at a time too. That's how it works.
Mega J jumping in saying, just awesome. Absolutely. And what a time to be a Motu fan. That's right. Who would have thought that, here we are, 2020. We got Gray Skull back. Yeah, we're in 2023 now, but in the 2020s, new millennia. And we've got Snake Mountain coming back. We got Castle Gray Skull back. Point Dread is coming too. I mean,
yeah,
that's huge. That is absolutely huge. I never thought I would see the day of my life when all this would be returning. And here it is, man. It's those Specters of the past coming to us. Absolutely so awesome. And
you got to get that copyrighted or trademarked.
I need to at some point soon.
Yeah.
Before somebody beats me to it.
Yeah, Chris Jericho will. He'll do that.
That jerk. I'll wrestle him. I'll take him down. I will definitely take him down. So here we go. Steel Will and Steel Heart had a heart attack while undergoing his transformation.
And that was the part that freaked me out because they flat out said, well, they don't need them. And I was like, what? Like as a kid, I'm like, why don't they need their hearts? Oh, we'll just figure something else out. I'm like, that's nuts. Like, because we were not doing that back in the 80s. That was still like, pipe dream sci-fi. And then now we can do that and it works and, for people and it saves lives. But back then, my mind could not comprehend doing that to your body in order to do this mission in space and all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, what? Really?
Yeah.
But yet, mind you, it's not like we didn't have the Bionic Man.
No, it's true. I never grew up on that one. I didn't watch that one as a kid, but I still like it. For me, I like Thundercats. Thundercats had scary stuff for me too, because like Mum-Ra scared the living hell out of me. The first episode of that one, where it's because as a kid, Filmation really made it that there was always this obviousness to me of He-Man will make it through the episode. And I never really worried about He-Man on the level of like, oh well, is he gonna survive or whatever. But on that episode where Lion-O's on the first episode or whatever, Lion-O's out in the woods, and then Jaga's telling him the sword won't respond to you wanting to kill a living thing and all this stuff. And as a kid, I'm like, that's kind of cool. He uses it in order to defend. He doesn't use it in order to kill or whatever. And then out of nowhere, you get Mum-Ra showing up, and he doesn't even say anything. He just keeps cackling at him.
Yeah.
And as a kid, that was unnerving. And then, like, the only thing that scared him was his own reflection, and he figured that out randomly in the fight. And as a kid, I'm like, this dude's gonna die. Like, Lion-O is done. Like, this is
Right.
And didn't he even he had the tar on the sword, so he couldn't even get the eye to open to call the rest of the Thundercats in.
Yep.
And then it's like that it was unnerving for me as a kid watching that.
Wow.
Definitely was. So did you guys watch?
He wasn't paying attention to you. He just agreed. It's like the another radio host. Oh yeah, that's exactly what you were saying. Right, I get that. On to the next question.
No, I totally get where he's coming from with that. Because I used to watch it too, and it was different from what else we saw.
Well, in He-Man did the incantation, and you knew there was going to be heroics coming.
Yeah.
Up. On Thundercats and on Silverhawks, they had these like almost occult to demonic incantations to turn a bad guy who's already bad into something even worse. And as a kid, I'm like, that's just what the crap. Like, I wasn't prepared to have the door swing both ways, I guess, as a kid in that way. Well, the bad guys should be able to do it just like He-Man could do it. Well, no, I didn't expect that. So, yeah. And like the one for Monstar, that one got me more because he was bathed in red.
Yeah.
And it connected to Unicron destroying the planet at the beginning of Transformers the movie, and it made me just think of like death. Like, it was flat out, I am bringing death to you. And then when they talked about his star from his eye, and they're like, it will never stop until it gets you. I was like, this is like nightmare fuel for my 6-year-old brain. Like, he will not stop until it gets you, and it will kill you. Like, God, what? How do you outrun that? You don't.
So did you freak out when the ghost bit Pac-Man in the cartoon?
No, I didn't give a shit about that. I watched maybe a couple episodes of the Pac-Man thing, but I was way more into like, give me these adventure cartoons like He-Man or Black Star and whatnot. And from that point on, it was like, if you told me it was a cartoon like Pac-Man or any of that sort, usually it was like, all right, I'd rather watch something that's more fantasy oriented or action oriented.
I know. I was just kidding around.
No, but I had a lot of, like, as a kid, I was afraid of quite a few things because it was like my parents had this very boring life. And so these ideas in my head, and then my mind would just blow them up into these crazy scenarios. And it went crazy. Like, earlier, I saw the highlight about the boogeyman on the Real Ghostbusters. That was awesome because I love that was the seed that Egon had planted in his brain to say, I need to fight back against this when he was a kid. That was one of the best parts of that series for me, was because as a kid watching the movies, I was like, what would make guys decide this is what you need to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the show, they go into that, and then they show even on the series, he's still afraid. And they finally, I think the Boogeyman Returns or whatever, there was an episode he came back, and Egon had to fight through his fear to defeat him that time. And as a kid, it was like one of the coolest episodes. I absolutely love that one.
I never watched one episode of that show.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
No,
I love the original movie, but I never watched the cartoon.
Gotcha.
The Boogeyman from the Real Ghostbusters is still to this day one of the most, I think, terrifying ghosts from that show. Because a lot of them looked kind of campy. Yeah. And they were just they looked goofy. And then you had this thing. And God, is he creepy. I'm trying to find one of the best images, a clear image of him.
Just don't slow down your computer.
Yeah, it's going to slow down no matter what I do. Here we go. I think, no, that's not a very good one. There's like the whole body.
You're killing it, man.
You guys can carry a conversation without me,
I'm sitting there. I'm anticipating this picture. So
with Ghostbuster, I don't remember the name anymore, but there were a couple on there that were unsettling. It was like I was getting nightmares, but it did make me just go like, "Oh, that ain't right." And one of them was, and I don't remember the name, but it was a ghost that fed on other ghosts, and he would eat them, but he would eat them with them going into his stomach, and he kept on growing larger and larger and stuff. But like basically Slimer was going to actually Slimer got sucked into him, and then they kept seeing Slimer trying to push his way out. And as a kid, I'm like, that's just messed up. Like that gave me some moments. And then there was an episode where I think it was the Grundle or the Grendel or the Grundle, where
Yep.
the ghost took over the brother of like it was like a young kid, the brother of either he had a younger brother or a sister, and he started becoming the Grundle in real life throughout the episode. And that was just messed up too, because it's like it's not just like the ghost is manipulating him to be bad. It's the ghost is becoming the kid, or the kid's becoming the ghost. And that was almost like the Pinocchio Donkey Island with the kids. And that was always like a creepy, messed up fest for me too as a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we're really getting into the Spectre and the spooky.
That's what I was thinking. I was just about to say. So what else has been going on in your childhood there, sir?
I got plenty. I mean, geez, I could make lists. Don't you worry. I had a lot of weird things. Nowadays, there's not much I can think of that really like I Castle Hellskull gives me the creeps a bit, but I can't think of too much that rattles me the same way some of that did. And a lot of it was just my brain letting it take over and running with these ideas. And it would just get worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
Right.
It's like the show gave me enough, and then the nightmare fuel would just take it over.
So you like to squish around in all that ectoplasm and stuff, huh?
That was my puberty years.
Yeah.
as
that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what I told them. It was when she's like, "What the crap happened?" I got slime. Don't worry, Mom. I won't talk about that with you. I had a little too much late night hot dogs and vape over.
Oh, there we go.
I was invited to that mashed potato party.
The ectoplasm.
The mashed potatoes with ectoplasm all over it.
I'll tell you a story though about a party. My friend, the Count Chocula. Remember back in the day, the Count Chocula box, and they had like those eye, the eyes that would move around back and forth. Did you ever see that when they did that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so my friend, he took him off the box, right? And he'd go to this party, and he'd go up to everybody. Hey, everybody, you want to see my hypnotic eyes? And everybody like, sure, let's see your hypnotic eyes. So he pulled his pants down. He had them stuck on his ass. He take his ass around. He's like, here's my hypnotic eyes, everybody. Oh, man.
And nowadays he'd be serving 5 to 7 because somebody would find that completely hard. It's like, yeah, those were the days. You couldn't get slapped with a lawsuit as easily as you can now.
He looked like Woody Allen. He was like this little tiny guy. And he'd walk around. Anybody want to see my hypnotic eye? All night long? Want to see my hypnotic eyes? He pulls his pants down and shake his ass. And I'm stuck to him.
I don't think I ever did anything like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he was out there.
I mean, my mom always said she knew where I was in the neighborhood because she would just listen, and every few minutes you'd hear somebody scream, "I have the power." And she knew I was at the neighbor's house or across the street or whatever.
Yeah.
But and like the two that I had to go crazy with, it was I loved playing He-Man, but then when Thundercats hit, it was really fun to do the Thundercats home moment. And my mom again, it was like that. Yeah, there's Sean again. Great,
Yeah.
he's over the neighbors.
Jeez.
So first up here, we're gonna go ahead and show off the Boogeyman.
Oh, I forgot about that. We're still doing that.
Yeah,
That's what he was working on the whole
I know
time.
the whole time.
So that was the
For
Boogeyman.
me. Yep.
Got that crazy weird blue hairdo, the huge face and eyes. Dude's not wearing any pants.
Looks like
Just
Dracula on crack.
yeah, he really was. Because he's even got a bow tie, and bow ties are cool.
And the hooves. The hooves feet were also like, okay, so
Right.
this guy's like demonic because there aren't many people with hooved feet walking around out there, obviously. And it had that like the goat thing going on or whatever. So
Right. Well, and Sean had also mentioned this fella. So I decided I'd bring him up because he was definitely, again, nightmare fuel.
that's him. That's him. I don't remember his name though.
Looks like Jack the Streaker instead of Jack the Ripper, and woo.
I mean, when you see that kind of stuff, it really does mess with you. But at the same time, it was like all the ghosts. I guess, it was painting it where the ghosts were more misunderstood, and he ended up being like the dick. He was the guy where he's like, "I'm using all of you to be more powerful, and I'm going to be evil." And it's like, oh, that ain't good, you know?
Right. So Payne's Toy Samples had now for the night, but yeah, talking about the Boogeyman's voice too. You know, he just had that really creepy, haunting, weird voice.
It was like a satanic wheezing when he would talk. It was so weird.
I used to be able to do the impression of it, but unfortunately right now I've been battling against a cold. That's why I sound a little nasally. But I used to really be able to get that low, you know, I remember you.
That's exactly it right there.
That sounds like SpongeBob when he got dry.
Oh my god! Don't keep doing that.
I need it.
I'm hurting for you just hearing that, but that voice is exactly how he sounded. That was perfect.
Well, thank you for that. So you got a Boogeyman impression out of me, and talking about Sam Hain freaking
Sam
people
Hain
out.
also, yeah.
It's pronounced
Yeah,
Samhain.
That's how it's pronounced. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that show did such a great job of elevating some of these, like in the movies, they keep always going back to Gozer and Zool and everything. And for me, I'm like, the show really, really proved how good this could be. And like Sam Hain, they did go to Stay Puffed, and that was fine. But you know, they made so many of their own ghosts that I kind of wish the movies would go, hey, maybe we should do something with these.
I might have to check out the show. I'll try to see it.
Real Ghostbusters had a lot of fun, great episodes.
It's more like I don't know the best. Like it didn't feel until later. Later on in the series, you ended up getting like Slimer in the Real Ghostbusters, and that for me was when it was getting watered down because then it was like Slimer. They turned him into almost like the Elmo of the group. Oh, he's the cute one. Everybody loves him. Comic relief.
Yeah.
And they even gave him his own cartoon where it looked more like Ren and Stimpy style, and I hated that. I didn't like that because I started the show with the good animation of the Ghostbusters, and they were legit doing some really good, like they were having cases that made you actually go, oh, that's creepy, or oh, that's wrong, or whatever. Like the one that I remember still is the old woman that they went to her house and the house was possessed, but then also she was possessed, and then she possesses Peter, and I was like, that's it, like the whole thing with that is like the whole thing just needs to go. Like This is completely,
Burn the
wackadoo,
whole
basically.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just burn it with fire and get it the hell out of here.
One of the things that I remembered that I always liked about the show, they had this one episode where they were out late one night and they ended up coming to a town that was like a mini Transylvania in like the mountains of New York along the Appalachian Trail. And the town was inhabited by vampires and werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
So much like to the boogeyman was not a ghost. He was more
Yeah.
of a demonic presence.
Yeah.
Or a demonic entity, because he wasn't just a presence, he was an entity. And they had this town full of these vampires and werewolves. The Ghostbusters are not equipped to fight these things because they're not ghosts.
Yeah, exactly.
And they get to this point where, again, the vampires are like the high society, the werewolves are the trash or whatever, the poor.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like this all-out fight. And then next thing you know, vampires are biting werewolves are biting vampires, and now they're changing. Like,
mm-hmm.
Again, the werewolves are now becoming vampires, and the vampires are now becoming werewolves and flipping society. It was just a very interesting and different way of taking that story, because it's not normally the way that goes, when those two fight. But it was a very kid-friendly way to do it, I suppose. But you actually saw these things like ripping into each other. They didn't try to sugarcoat that either, which was not really heard of at the time.
Absolutely. And I mean, heck, on the one Boogeyman episode, the Boogeyman always went after kids, and it was like Monsters Inc. He had to get through a closet door and terrorize kids, and that would be his power in that way. And like the beginning of that episode, the one that I'm thinking of is like they're on the top of one of the towers of the World Trade Center trying to stop a ghost, and Egon gets blown off the side of it, and that's like his nightmare that's fueling the Boogeyman to come back. And it's like, as a kid, I was like, damn, like they're going here already, and it's like literally the first minute or two of the episode, and it just set the stage for like the amount of like fear he needed to get out of his purgatory and come back and get them and all that stuff.
Right. So Emerald Knight is bringing up a fun point here, saying that he was a fan of the Lorenzo music Venkman as opposed to David Courier, who replaced him like into the second season, I believe it was. And he's talking about how rumor has it Bill Murray wasn't a fan that the voice of Garfield was playing him on the show, but he ended up playing the voice of Garfield in the movies. I did always find that was funny.
Yeah, that is.
Because the guy who played his characters in cartoons, and then he played them in the movies. Like, that was kind of perfect. And yet still kind of messed up with that whole thing. But I agree. I preferred that original Venkman voice as opposed to, again, he was more sarcastic, more dry. It was more Bill Murray than Uncle Joey,
Yeah. Well, Uncle Joey always felt like he was drawing things out when he talked, and it drove me crazy as a kid to even listen to him. Whereas Lorenzo Music he had the right cadence for Peter. So.
Right. And Giraffe is saying the Garfield Halloween special was amazing too.
It is. Well, I watch it every year.
Yep.
And I used to think when they would run around in circles, they scream. I always thought they
scary cat.
I always thought they said, fuck it. Because I swear to God, I used to think that as a kid. It was like, fuck it. But he actually says rust bucket. But when you're thinking, you hear something, you always hear what you thought you heard. So I always thought Garfield would swear, fuck it. I thought that was the funniest thing until I was older and I realized what he was actually saying.
That special made me wish I lived in his town, because I always wanted to go trick-or-treating and have an adventure happen like that. And it was basically, you go trick-or-treating, you come home. And every year I was sad because I didn't have something as like a Halloween adventure. And then I watched that special and I'm just sitting there going, I want that night. like them showing up in that house and the old guys in there, 100 years ago tonight, that's when they signed it in blood and all that. As a kid, I'm like, I want to be in that house with them. I don't care if I die. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of fun in my neighborhood on Halloween. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I used to go out with my buddy Eric and my buddy John. We used to have this thing. Buddy John lived on the same street as my buddy Eric, but he lived about 2 blocks down. And I was on the other side of the block. So John used to walk up to my house. We'd walk around, get my buddy Eric. Then we'd walk back down to John's house and then plot out the rest of the neighborhood from there. And we used to cover some ground every Halloween. And that was the adventure because we were going down every side street, every dead end street, hitting every house we could, getting tons of candy. And I managed to get meatloaf too one night.
Nice.
Get out of here.
Totally got a meatloaf on Halloween. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. My neighborhood went on forever because I was on 104th Street. And you could go from basically 98th Street all the way down to 115th and then A through Z, so we had all those neighbors and blocks to go through. It was a lot of fun running around. And everybody, decorated and had haunting music playing, and all the old people would hand out the pennies and you get money and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was fun. But we had to keep going up and down the stairs though, because we had those big old homes that we lived in. Yeah, so we had to up and down the steps. Poor girl, man. This one guy, he was dressed as a scarecrow, and he kept him out on the porch for like all week. And it was just like a mannequin, or not a mannequin, like a stuffed scarecrow. But on Halloween, the guy that lived there dressed up as him. So he'd sit on the porch thinking that it's just a decoration, and then he'd jump out and scare the kids. This poor girl, she fell down the steps and her candy fell out of her pumpkin. God. Yeah, it was awful.
That's horrible.
Scared the hell out of her, man.
We had this one house, and it was like a tradition every year for Halloween. The guy who used to live there, I found out years later, actually worked in visual effects for movies.
Okay.
Oh.
And yeah. So he lived right at the end of the block from the elementary school, and we all used to walk to school. So right around Halloween time, all of a sudden you would start seeing him cover his front yard in tarps. And we'd get all really excited because he covered everything. So you had no idea what it was going to look like up until sunset on Halloween night. And then he would pull the tarps off everything. He would have strobe lights going. And it was one of the most graphic and disgusting things ever. And he would make these elaborate costumes for himself. And then the following year, whatever the elaborate costume was for that year became part of the display for next year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He had this one where it was like this decapitated head kind of thing, like right through the middle. Because I remember the nose was right here and he had the slime coming out. But those were his eye holes, were the nostrils, so he could actually see out of the head. And everything was always so really elaborate and crazy. And he changed it up every year. Even though parts of it would be the same, he changed up how it was done every year so that it was a whole new display. And it was part of the Halloween hype because you knew there was going to be this epic display.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always building new props and stuff, but you never know what it was until that night. And that was always big fun for me. I could never wait to get to his house.
It's cool.
He'd let you walk through and check everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wasn't like, oh, don't go near it, don't go touch it. No, you could walk through and check everything. It was fantastic. Halloween's my favorite holiday, hands down.
Mine too.
Same here.
That's why I got it tattooed all over my arms.
That's why that headless horseman got me, man. To me, he is like the embodiment of Halloween. Especially with the new color scheme. God damn
it. I think when I was a kid, I remember, and I don't know if they probably did it more than once, because after a certain point the song took on a life of its own, but I still to this day remember Halloween and just Thriller was the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Thriller,
and
Ghostbusters.
yeah, yeah, and it was like that for me. Every time I hear Thriller, I get transported back to like 1984 Baltimore for me. And I still remember like one of my favorite Halloweens was my mom managed to make me a muscle suit, and I was Lion-O because I had the sword, the play sword, and I had the
Yeah.
shield, the claw shield. So she got me this big red wig, painted up my face and everything, and I got to be Lion-O. And that was the one Halloween when I was little before we moved to Pennsylvania, where I was not afraid of a damn thing because as long as I held the sword of omens and I had the claw shit, I just felt like I could take on the world. And there was a guy who was trying to scare us at one yard near the end of the night, and he kept on coming out like coming up to the gate and coming up to the fence and, "Roar," and I just like start roaring back at him like Lion-O, and we did like a roaring match at one point. And it was like I wasn't backing down because I wasn't afraid of you, dude. I got the at one point my mom had to actually grab my hand because I was gonna bop him with the sword because I was getting so mad.
You ever seen Sight Beyond Sight? I'm about to show you.
And yes, Monster Mash too. I remember that one being a big one when I was a kid. But,
Yeah, I always dressed up like in monsters and stuff. I never dressed up like He-Man or anything for Halloween. I was always into the horror stuff for Halloween.
I did a Dracula one year,
Yeah.
but I mean I like the ones I remember where I had fun. It was like Lion-O. I dressed up. I just used all the play stuff I had to be a Ghostbuster, and I just was a Ghostbuster that year.
That'd be funny if that was the year I was as Ghost because I had like this, I had this skull face looking mask I had, and I would always go down to the Jewels and they would get they always have masks there for Halloween. I always buy them when I was younger. Yeah,
I want to say that was for me. That might have been 1988 or 89.
Oh, I was in high school at that time. Yeah, so I wasn't dressing up.
And then my last one, I was Leonardo, the Ninja Turtle.
Oh, okay.
And my mom helped me make the shell and some other stuff to at least feel a little more legit, but I didn't put as much effort into that one. I was like, I had the swords, I had the turtle shell, and I had the bandana. I was good to go. I just went with it.
I remember one year, it was right around when Jurassic Park came out. I got it into my head that I wanted to be a dinosaur. And they had the raptor gloves and a mask. And I'm like, I'm a dinosaur. Like, I'm not a dinosaur. It doesn't look anything like a dinosaur, you know? But it was still cool. And, you know, I love my critters, so. But, yeah, man, I love that. No, I definitely did quite a few horror stuff. I remember being a real little kid and doing Freddy Krueger. And all it was basically a set of PJs. It wasn't even like a real thing. It had a little black mask that went around my eyes, which he never had that little black mask. It had Nightmare on Elm Street on it, and it was like Freddy's silhouette, and then red and black stripes down the arms. And that was a Freddy Krueger costume.
Wow.
I'm like, what? Years later, I made up for it, and I actually got the good latex mask and even had the glove and everything else for it, which I had that glove forever. So Nolan in 89, he was Michelangelo.
Nice.
And Alien Dread saying he remembers the cheap masks that were all sharp around and crinkle and poke your face with the weak rubber band holding it on. Absolutely, man.
Those are great, though.
They were the best ones.
I actually was gonna write a story about that. Them being, I shouldn't give this away, but kids wearing the Halloween masks like that, but they gave them special powers. You know, of Halloween. It was going to be something like kids' Halloween story. That's what I was going to be writing.
Well, go for it.
Yeah,
do it. Put it.
I got it. Yeah, I got some
chapter.
Of it written. Yeah, chapter 1. Oh man!
I think one of my first Halloweens, my mom got me the C-3PO one because I loved him when I was a little kid, and that was like one of the biggest. Like I think I was in preschool, and I got to wear it to go to preschool that day, and it was like I just couldn't handle how excited I was to have that. And then I was Tron one year too.
Ooh.
Like my mom was into all this geek stuff and would take me to go see these movies and watch these shows. So then when she got into it, she thought Tron was cool because of the visuals. So when I wanted to be him, she figured it out for me and she made it work with like thermal underwear on and all this stuff. And
Tron's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I owe a lot to her that she made my Halloween's pretty freaking cool when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I definitely had one of those ones, and it was a mummy. And then, like, afterwards, like, the mask, like, glowed and everything like that. And you guys know I'm a sucker for glow in the dark. So, like, I was all in on this mummy. And then I wore the costume because, again, it was like a set of PJs almost.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the tight style PJs of the, 70s and the 80s where, it was a costume, but that was the costume. And then I just kept it as PJs afterwards. I used to walk around going, I loved it though, man. It was great. So Giraffe is throwing out mad props to your mom.
She does. I mean, that woman, she grew up with a steady diet of she grew up with like the old Adventures of Superman, George Reeves, and she liked the Fantastic Four comic books. She watched Disney Zorro, so she just passed it down to me because like right before I was born, she and my dad on a date went to see Star Wars, so it was already in my DNA that I was eventually going to be what I became. So yeah.
The night Sean was conceived.
No, I don't think that was that night, but I don't know. I'll have to, yeah. I don't want to know actually.
No,
I was
you
gonna
really
say,
don't want to ask these
no,
questions.
I'm not going to ask my mother. No, but the force is strong with that one, I guess. Yeah. Anyway.
Something was. All right. So Dutch is saying she always loved being a vampire, and then when her son got older, he was always Michael Myers, and she got him the Don Post Michael Myers mask. Cool. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I was a vampire a few years.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even to the point where I was wearing fangs as a regular fashion accessory, not just as Halloween.
Yeah, you get the plastic ones.
Yep. A friend's mom growing up was a seamstress, so he always had the best costumes. He went as Shredder, the Thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really,
the Thing
really
from the
awesome.
Fan 4. Oh my God, that would.
Can you imagine? Like, I mean, I'm just picturing like a Michael Chiklis style thing, like with all the blocks over it.
I was thinking of the horror film, The Thing.
I went there, but I'm like, that seems a little too much, maybe.
Yeah.
But I could buy maybe like she got some like foam and just went crazy and made
Took
it
apart
orange,
some coat hangers, wrapped them up in tinfoil and paper mache, and bam, you got the Thing from the horror movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's how you made that kind of stuff, you know?
Well, you could go as yourself and just say you're the Thing, but transformed into a human.
I'm Ben Grimm.
or just I'm the Thing, or are you the Thing?
Exactly.
If you want to go with
that would be the best option. You go around with a buddy at the end and you got the flask.
Yeah.
Neither one of you takes a drink, you just keep passing it back.
Which one of you has the dull eyes? That's what you go ahead and look at.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, it's coming up to 2 hours and 20 here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about a lot of different Specters from the past, well beyond the He-Man and why we're so passionate about the brand, which we know why we're passionate. I mean, you know.
You wouldn't let me derail it, damn it. I tried a couple times and you wouldn't let it go.
You need more. You got to keep going with it. Keep going, Bobby. Don't stop.
I still like the Dick in the Box thing personally. I was still on
I think the Dick in the Box was one of the funniest parts of the night because I'm still waiting for Justin Timberlake to pop in on one side.
He just shows up behind Bobby, spins the box, and walks off.
You know, Valentine's Day.
Who was that box man?
Next, he'll be showing up as a mother lover. So
yeah, there you go. Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to pull him out next time.
So he's gonna whip out his dick in the box.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull the dick out of the box. You've heard of a Jack in the Box. We're getting the dick out of the box.
I actually got 2 of them, so you can see 2 dicks.
He's going to pull both dicks out of the box and Jack into the box.
2 dicks, 1 box.
That's right. Oh man,
that's where I'm not invited back ever.
It's like one of those pull.
That is not going to happen.
It's like those pull things that we just stick our fingers in.
Yeah, finger cuffs. Yeah.
It won't come out.
Oh God!
I think we've lost all viewers because nobody's even commenting in the chat anymore.
I know.
They're talking about Halloween. Why are we showing up for this?
Exactly.
Don't Google that.
Yeah, right.
What, the Chinese finger trap?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
The dick in the box.
Dick in the...
Shit.
Hey, at least we went about 2 hours before anybody got the giggles to the point where we can't say anything.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Nolan's got it. He's rolling over here.
Yeah, the cover his
Nolan.
ears.
Giraffe had to cover the ears. He's got the virgin ears.
Not anymore.
Nope. Deflowered ears.
Oh, that's what Bobby was gonna have that. Deflowered ears.
Oh
Get
yeah,
the
right.
tongue.
Yeah. Not these.
No, these
Not,
baby.
not from Joe, that's for sure. Giving his hot dog breath.
It keeps coming back.
Is that where the hot dogs came from?
Oh, did you ever see the episode with them where he found a thing of hot dogs in the street and he ended up taking them home?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's a recurring theme, whether we like it or not. The hot
Right.
dogs will just keep coming
I
back.
Hot dogs are here to stay.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
That's what I get for having dinner tonight.
What you
Oh shit.
How dare you eat, Sean?
I know, it's horrible. The flatulence. Oh,
Just make sure you got your Depends on.
rumble strips all night long. Oh God.
Oh, oh boy.
Packed in that toilet paper.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
So
man.
okay, I got a question. I guess I'll
All
throw
right.
this out there. So Bobby, what was the thing that actually got you into Masters? Because you're older than me,
Yeah.
if I remember right. So with you being older, what was it that, like, when you first saw this stuff that really grabbed you?
See, I brought that up before where I actually don't remember where I first saw it, but I
Okay.
remember getting it in 1982 for Christmas. I got Castle
Ah, okay.
Grayskull and I got some of the figures and stuff. So that was my first remembrance of Masters of the Universe was that.
God.
Yeah. Like I know
Because
other people say they went to the store and they saw the colors of the
Mhm.
characters and the packaging. I don't remember that too much.
Okay.
But I remember I might have probably saw it on a commercial or something. I'm sure. But
Got it.
this is even pre Filmation, so yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you're like me in that way, because Filmation came along the next year and I got really
Right.
pumped for that, because I'm like, there's gonna be a cartoon, and that was mind blowing to me, because that wasn't something like the closest you saw to that before that was like G.I. Joe had commercials with animation in it.
Yes, yep.
And that was kind of like, whoa, that's it. Like, what if there was a show of that? And then there was a show of it, you know? But it's the same with He-Man. It's like, here's these cool toys. By the way, there's a TV show on the way.
Yeah, that's what I was excited about because I already had the toys, and I'm like, oh, now they've got a cartoon coming out. This would be great. So
Mhm.
I never
Did you
saw it
get
as
in?
a. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I never saw it as a commercial. I always saw it as just watching a cartoon. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Did
we
you
all,
get
that's how we all
into
saw it.
Yeah.
did you
Round,
get
round
into
3. I'm sorry.
Did you get into any of the other things leading up to the cartoon, like they were releasing records and storybooks and stuff, or were you
No, I
too old
never
to
had
worry
any of
about
that.
stuff?
Yeah, I never
Okay.
had. Yeah, my parents and we didn't have a lot of money, so it was
Oh,
you
okay.
know mostly whatever my friends had or
Mhm.
what I was able to get for Christmas and birthdays and stuff. So, but like I said, that's why Filmation's so important to me. Is I watch that every day. You know, ran home from school and
Got
stuff and watched it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that.
I used to.
And then go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I used to record them on cassette tapes, and I would listen
I
to
did
them.
that too.
Did you?
My
Because you didn't
my
have VHS
mom.
at the time, so I would just listen
Yeah,
to the episodes. Yeah.
exactly. My mom, in the summertime, she was an artist, and the elementary school I went to, they asked her to do murals on the walls, and it'd be like literary characters and stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
historical events and things. And she had to have me go with her during the summer because I couldn't just stay at home, even though it was literally across the street from where I was living. So she would wake up early, tape them for me, and then she'd bring that with me, and she'd let me take all of my He-Man toys with me while she was working. So all day at school, here I am running around with my He-Man toys up and down the halls
Yeah. Yeah.
and getting to play the episode of the day that was on earlier that morning.
That's cool.
Yeah, see, I was born in 85, so it was like right at the height of
Mm-hmm.
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
And fortunately, like, my parents were really cool and managed to grab a bunch of that stuff. So that I had quite a lot of it by the time I was really old enough to kind of understand and play with it. But I think I was playing with it like before I was even a year old.
Hmm.
Just because I always remembered He-Man being around,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it was definitely my first toy line that I was all about.
Mm-hmm.
It was really like He-Man, and then there was this Fisher-Price line, definitely dinosaurs. I remember those as the two biggest standouts from when I was a real little kid. And yeah, my He-Man rode those dinosaurs. I didn't have the ones
Mm-hmm.
from Masters of the Universe,
Mm-hmm.
but they rode the other dinosaurs,
Mm-hmm.
and that was always really awesome. So just going through some of the comments here from folks' memories as a kid with it. I remember sneaking around with a friend going through his father's Savage Sword of Conan mags, jaw dropping
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Soon after, he saw the box art on Motu Toys at Sears and going bonkers for it. Saw it as Conan for me. And I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at several of my friends' parents and even, my parents' friends' houses. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
go over and like people would have like a Frank Frazetta book just sitting on the table kind of thing, like one of those coffee
Mm-hmm.
table books. And looking at that art and being like, wow, that's really, really something. And of course, there was this element of naughtiness of seeing like the near naked woman on the cover, in some cases naked.
Yeah.
So like when I saw the boxes for He-Man, it always just screamed Conan,
Mm-hmm.
which was great. So Nolan's saying he was pretty sure his dad got most of their toys on clearance. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Especially now as an adult collector, I totally understand doing the
Yep.
clearance.
Yep.
That's
Uh,
cool. Putting
yeah,
like the
Thanos
mini
Copter
comic book
saying,
there.
right? Yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
really, really awesome. Reading those mini
Cool.
comics, to have your mom read them and record it so you could
Right.
just
Yeah.
play it as you flip through the pages, even if your mom wasn't around to read it. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the Motu books on tape, those things were huge because, yeah, my Teddy Ruxpin read me some Motu.
Mm-hmm.
He not only sang Ozzy, Nirvana, and Metallica, he read Masters of the Universe to me, and that's all good.
the thing about it was a magical time, and that's something that unfortunately I don't think we'll ever have recaptured as we get older, because the line got defined already.
Yeah.
But I still, and I don't know how I still remember this stuff, but to this day I still remember sitting in my bedroom and playing the records for the storybooks, and they had the big LP that on the
Yeah.
cover it's He-Man with his battle axe knocking the
Yeah.
power
Yeah.
sword out of Skeletor's hand, and then on the back he's knocked him off of the parapet of Castle Grayskull. And when I
Yep.
was a kid, I listened to that thing so much, and they had the theme song that lasted like 15 hours. but I loved it because I was like, like that. There was something about that it made me, and this is how my mind worked. It made me think of the Masters of the Universe in a recording studio singing that like "We Are the World." So I was like, oh, here's Tila's part. Here's where Man at Arms is gonna sing and all that stuff. But it painted, you had so many different iterations of what this was supposed to be leading up to Filmation hitting and defining it for a lot of people. So you had it, okay, he's the jungle warrior He-Man. Oh, he's just this noble warrior that he just, he wanders the plains with Battle Cat, and he'll show up when there's danger and all this. And like that's why I think I still dig into that being my He-Man stuff still, no matter what Filmation or any other version has done since then, because it still felt so open. The whole concept was just this open concept of here's a hero fighting monsters. Boom. That's all I needed to invest into it. But then they had a mythology that was built throughout the line that was even more interesting and stuff. But it was funny too, like when I was a kid, other toy lines, I mean, like GI Joe had artwork on their toys and on the
Yeah.
boxes and stuff. Transformers did as well, and those were still eye-catching to me. But Rudy Obrero and William George, I hope I got the name right,
Yeah.
William George.
Yep.
They knocked it out of the park, making an unreal world like Eternia feel like this is some place your imagination needs to be.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's something that, like those two men made my imagination. And Earl Norem, he's another one too,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
like with the magazine artwork
Yep.
he was doing later on, it's like this stuff was basically laying the groundwork for me going, what's Conan about? At like the age of like 6, and then getting some comic books and going, holy crap, she's nearly naked. And then my mom getting upset and me going, I just want to see him kill people, Mom. I don't care about the naked women or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean that was like it was a primal toy line. I don't think I've ever seen. I remember that one though. The GI Joe. I had a lot of
yeah.
those when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I had a Transformers one. I had GI Joe. I had tons of He-Man, and I had some the DC superheroes. They had some hardback books, and they had tapes in them. So there was one for Superman, there was one for Batman and
Yeah.
Robin, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League, and I had all of those. And I remember I would just put those on randomly and just enjoy the hell out of those things.
Yeah, the only book on tape I had, or not book on tape, but was Return of the Jedi. So.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's
Very cool.
always an epic one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love getting the records because they had the big fold out,
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, that whole thing. Secret of the Sword was one of my most favorite. Like that was my vinyl. Like I had that. I had the Ghostbuster soundtrack. I don't even know if the Ghostbuster soundtrack was really mine, but I act like I owned it. And yeah, but I loved having that because it had the story right there for me.
Mm-hmm.
So like Secret of the Sword, I remember being aired on TV like once. And that was all I ever saw it. I didn't have the tape, not until I'd go up to like, we had a local video store, All Star Video, where you could get it, but it was like years later. But I had that record and I used to listen to that all the time. And, same thing. A lot of those little books on tapes things, that was just great. I really, really loved that. So, other people commenting in, talking about how cool that was. And I agree. The sound for the turn of the page. Yep. Yep.
I did that as a reel on Instagram. I put that on a reel. I got a couple. I got the Planet of the Apes ones too on record.
And Viewmasters.
Yeah, Viewmasters.
Yeah.
Always were fun. Always.
I used to have one. It was, I don't know what it was called. It was from Star Wars, and it was a little projector thing you can look into and you can spin it. And I always, every time the stormtrooper would fall, I always like rewind it and then rewind it and put it, so he's up and down, back and forth. It was kind of fun.
It was. It looked like he was diving.
Yeah. I wish I still had that. That thing's probably worth a lot of money.
Probably is, because it's one of those like real rare, hard to find collectibles.
Yeah, it was like blue, and it had like the red thing you'd stick it in
Mhm.
there, and you could just twist it.
I
remember that.
remember those.
Yeah.
I remember those like they were yesterday.
Yeah.
I had a white one. I think that my thing was red. The Viewmaster thing was red on it, or
Yeah.
the wheel,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
all white, and I still remember that. And the one playset when I was a kid that was the most exciting playset for me to get probably was the Talon Fighter, because like that it was all well and good. I liked the actual the vehicle and the playset, and the idea of here's something to put on top of a thing that you already got
Yeah.
like a Christmas ago. And as a kid, I'm like, you can do that? Like that was
Yeah.
mind blowing that they actually like. I thought it was like they were retrofitting stuff, going like
Right.
they can do that, and it's like, yeah, of course they could do it. But when you're 4 or 5 years old, it's mind blowing. But the thing that got me the most about that set was that you got the record and the storybook with it.
Yep.
And that was still in that transitional phase before the line went more like, okay, by the power of Grayskull, because there was never a by the power of Grayskull, if I remember right. It was he's He-Man, and Man at Arms and him are taking care of business of figuring out what's what in that one, if I remember right. And I love that on so many levels, and the ding is in there and all that stuff, and it's like those precursors where Skeletor sounds like he's talking into a fan with the most growling voice. You're like, I could do that when I'm at my grandma's house, but man, that's cool in Skeletor, or whatever. It's like I ate that stuff up when I was a kid so much, and I always liked storytelling, and I think those were so integral to me, or integral to me, really enjoying storytelling as just a base level of entertainment like that.
Yeah.
And the way that Mattel did it, they made it feel like these were stories handed down through the myths of Eternia to
Yeah.
you, and you were discovering this for the first time in your generation, which made you feel important and special because you were a part of this toy line. And there weren't many other things that were undiscovered like that when we were kids. Everything else, like Superman, you knew he was from Krypton. Batman, you knew his parents got killed. Spider-Man got bit by a radioactive spider. We knew those things. It's chapter and verse. But now there's Masters of the Universe. What's this all about? There's tales and legends and ancients and all.
Yep.
And it's like that whole aspect of it always ignited my imagination, and that's probably why 2000X made me go like, ooh, you're digging into that now. We're going into the past. We're talking about
Right.
the Council of Elders, and we're going into that storyline. And King Grayskull, I was like, holy crap, you're digging deep into this stuff that I always wanted to know about the history here. So
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the best parts about He-Man back then, was you always felt that there was something more to discover.
Absolutely.
Like I still feel to this day that there's so much more to Eternia and to the lore. Like I feel like we've never really dug deep enough. But I think part of that is that it's good to keep that mystery.
Yes. Definitely.
Because once you dig too deep and you find everything, there's not as much allure to it anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Well, it's the way that stories are told now. You're getting all the answers up front, and there is like like everybody knows the origin stories of stuff because that's all we want to do in the movies. For the first movie in anything, they're telling you the origin. And I could see the reasoning to that if you're not into whatever it is. So at least you have, okay, here's a baseline for me to start enjoying this. But there is something to be said about, just get into it and figure it out as you go. Because like when we were kids, if you wanted to read a comic book, you didn't get a issue 1 every other month that you could just pick it up and start there.
Right.
I picked up X-Men at like issue 208 and started reading it based on, oh, well, this is the issue that's out this month. I will start here. Okay.
Yep.
And it made it fun because you're like, there's a whole history I don't know about, but I'm also going forward with this. So I gotta like it's like I'm doing work, but I'm enjoying my work to figure this
Right.
out to get me up to speed on what's going on.
Well, that's what I loved about those comics too, was they always had the little, you know, see issue number, blah blah blah. It
Yeah, yeah,
literally told you exactly what you needed to go back and look at. Like,
absolutely.
here's the reference. Go
Hmm.
back and check it out. And then you go to the local comic book shop and see if that issue's still available. Or you hit like 1,000 different yard sales looking for people selling the whole comic book collection for like 5 cents.
Well,
Mhm.
Image was notorious for that too when they first started, but they were trying to sell the other comics. If you want to see what happened, check out Spawn #1 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you would get Shadowhawk and say, go check out these guys. Issue
I have,
something something.
Well, the best part about
you know,
Image was didn't have a whole lot of back issues to go back
No,
to.
no, but
that,
they were doing that to tell you to go buy all these other comic
yeah,
books to get the full story. So
Yep.
now you're buying all this shit that you don't want just to see
I,
something.
but I appreciated that for the fact that they started off with they started at just hitting the ground running with that universe, and they were like, it's all cohesive, we're all going to make it work. And as a kid, I was like, well, that's a pretty big deal, but that's kind of fun because it made them all seem important. But then when they couldn't hit their deadlines, then it's like something that's alluded to in like Wildcats issue, whatever. And I'm like, well, that book didn't even ship yet. Like
Yeah,
whatever they alluded to, well, no, Savage Dragon always was on time. But like
yeah,
Spawn number this or Youngblood. And I was like, well, that one didn't ship yet. How am I supposed to know what you're talking about
right.
or whatever? It's like that's when it started crumbling for me.
Yeah. They had a lot of issues with that, putting out
Hmm.
books on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
Comics were always just really a fun way to tell a story.
Hmm.
And again, like, I think that was probably one of the best marketing parts of Masters of the Universe to begin with. The mini
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really great idea. Like, I didn't know how great of an idea it was at the time because that's just how I thought toys came.
Hmm.
And then it's like you start collecting these other toys, and it was like you get the little blurb on the back of the box.
Hmm.
You get that little bit. But where's the story of it? That tells me who this guy is, but it doesn't tell me the story. Here's a little story. Now go make your own. Do you
Yeah.
want to continue this adventure, or do you want to do a whole new one?
Yeah. The only toy line I could think of, maybe there's more than one now. But the one that I know for sure that they did it too was Superpowers because they each one of them had a little comic book with them,
Yeah.
and like they were introducing characters like Firestorm in the second wave, and
Mhm.
like for some of those kids, they were like, who the heck is this guy? And it's like, here's this team up adventure of Superman and Firestorm versus so and so. And as a kid, I appreciated that because I knew all the first wave characters. But when you got into some of these other ones, I'm like, well, okay, so Firestorm can do these things, and he's got some powers like Superman, but he can change things from one thing to another with their molecules. How cool is that? And so that helped. But like I said, like the beauty of Masters was they put when you went to the Alfredo Alcala art in those mini comics, and when you go into the Mark Texeira art, or however you say his last name, I never been able to say that right, but like what he did, the Ram Man mini comic and the Triclops mini comic and stuff. It's like those felt like Neil Adams drawing something to make it so important for your kid eyes, and it didn't feel like they were cutting any kind, or like they were cutting corners to make these stories feel like they had weight and a reason that you should be looking at these things. All of that art was eye-catching. All of the action going on was interesting, and it really set the stage of what the intention was to the line, which I love. Um, and like that's a huge reason why I love that the storybook that came with the Talon Fighter. That was from wall to wall Alcala artwork.
Yeah.
And for me as a kid, like buy me the playset so I can have the storybook. That was amazing.
Trying to grab it.
And that's the thing, Giraffe too. Like a lot of these comics
This one you're talking about.
now, they're yep. I love that book.
Yep.
One of the
I
best.
absolutely love that book. And I stared at the back of that for hours.
It's a record.
Yep.
There it is.
I actually had to. This is the story that I recorded for the Masters of the Mini Comics.
Oh, cool.
So I played Man at Arms again. So that should be coming soon.
Nice.
Both stories, Danger, Castle Grayskull, and the PowerPoint Dread.
Right.
Coming near you on YouTube.
That's
Most
right.
comics nowadays, they're written to be a graphic novel, and that bugs me too. Like sometimes it was fun to have those one-off issues of just here's an adventure with this character having a bad day, or here's the X-Men playing baseball for an issue, and you have some interpersonal thing going on or what. It's like I miss those issues because they don't really worry about those anymore. They're more of a palate cleanser going into something else. But sometimes those issues would be more interesting because they just give you that whole issue to focus on it, and then you're out, you know. And
that's why I love Hellboy too. They do like couple like one shots. They'll do like a 3 series run or a 5 series run. It's not a continuation of forever. So it's always fun to read those.
All right, guys. Well, we have actually gotten to about the 3-hour mark, just a couple minutes shy. How do we want to wrap this up tonight? Talk about what we all got going on this week. Sean, what are you and the Dooch up to?
Nothing right now. We are still planning the 100th episode, so that is in the making, and I think that's about it. I do want to real quick show off one thing here. So today, I ended up getting my the unknown one for Mythic Legions, but then last November at Legions Con, I ended up getting in a trivia contest through My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me podcast. They had me and another person, Anthony Halsteele, doing a Mythic Legions trivia contest at the convention. And I don't know how, but I won. So at the convention, they had a couple things that they were using as prizes, which was, you know, all well and good and awesome stuff. But then Cornboy himself said, I left a couple things on my desk back at the office, and I'm going to send them to you. And I gave him my address way back in November. And then after a certain point, I was like, it's okay if he forgot. I got plenty of things from this, you know, the winnings at the convention. And in the last week, he reached out to me. He goes, hey, by the way, I never forgot about that. I'm telling the guys to ship your stuff. And I'm like, okay. Like I did not expect any more than what I got. And this guy came in the mail to me today, Archimedes.
Wow.
Oh man.
From Cornboy. And ironically, he told me this when I thanked him. He said, this is one of my top 10 favorite figures in the entire line that we've ever produced. So the ironic part is when you take that off, he's a bald guy. So I promised Cornboy, because he is a bald man just like me, that he will be displayed bald because it will remind me of him, and it will never leave my collection because I was gifted this by him as a winning. So I do like to keep his head warm in between showing him off because it is a cool helmet.
Yeah, it is.
But he will be on there bald because it's just freaking cool. So yeah, that was a really awesome surprise that showed up on my doorstep today.
I agree. And we did just kind of skip over picks of the week this week.
Yeah, we did. Well, I didn't get anything, so.
Well, we had such an epic intro to go through. So
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then
well, that's
Skelly,
really awesome.
Skelly video too.
Mm-hmm. It was good to have him come on tonight and be here with us in spirit.
Yeah,
you know,
it's awesome. Yeah,
it was definitely a fun segment to have, and I was glad he was able to get that recorded and sent to us for tonight. We're all wishing you well, brother. We know you're going to watch the replay tomorrow while you're, you know, stuck at home with nothing better to do, but you know, watch us for another night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get back here soon. They're tired of cool Uncle Sean.
That is lies. We are never tired of cool Uncle Sean.
Well, still, get back here because I know he's missed. And
yeah, he is missed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Simple as that. This is where he belongs. He doesn't need to be pent up recuperating. He needs to be back in action.
That's right. We definitely all want him to be back in action. All right. And we got Nolan here saying he's been thinking about picking up Krotos. Would be my first Legion's figure. It's a slippery slope, Nolan, but you know I'm not going to tell you not to.
It is a slippery slope. When you get one, then all of a sudden you wonder, well, what about this one? And if you like that one, that opens the gates to you looking at other ones, and suddenly,
yeah, right.
That's
why I don't own one.
Because they're like Pringles. Once you pop, the fun don't stop
until it comes out later on. Pretty nasty. Like Pringles are no good, man.
So, I mean, I got to agree. I'm a big fan of Legions now. So it was a trap. A Headless Horseman got me. It said, "Hi, I'm Halloween." And I said, "Oh." And that was it.
What's up, Halloween?
It was done after that. I was like, they made a toy of Halloween itself? Oh. That beautiful Nate Barge artwork and everything else.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And the thing that got me is the flame effect for the pumpkin. Like they could have just had the pumpkin.
Yeah.
But instead they got the flame effects and all that going on.
It's
and
good stuff.
Really make it look good.
And now they made it cooler. Like, how did you do that? You actually made it better.
The only way that line does it is usually with a 2.0 figure. So the fact that a variant figure is a better version than the initial release is kind of like, I'm actually kind of nervous because that makes me go, how many variants am I going to need in my collection for other figures if they keep this up? Like that's another slippery slope.
Very, very dangerous. But like I said, in the end, I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, well, we got a while to go before that comes in, Thanos Copter. We got a bit. It's going to be a minute. But that's okay because I know they're coming. So I'm not worried about it. I can just ride that wave. I got it taken care of already.
That's one really awesome thing about the pre-order process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taken care of now. I can just chill and wait until, was it like next year that's going to be coming out?
Probably the end of this year.
Yeah, like fourth quarter, I think it was.
Yeah.
Is what's supposed to be hitting.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. It'll be Christmas. I'll just put them all under the tree for me. Or whenever we do Legion's class that month. Box is supposed to be like what, next month or April?
Probably. I haven't been keeping track of it the way that other people would. I'll just be like, "Ooh, there's another box on my doorstep. Yes, please." Yeah, just pop it open and enjoy. So
classic James Wood trap. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
That's how they get me.
That's right. Yeah, that's how they keep getting me too. Just put peanut butter cups all around Sean. He gets stuck because he just spins around in a circle.
Yeah. If my kids learned how to get me that easily, I would be doomed. But yeah.
Kids, don't watch this. You'll figure out how to get your dad.
They already know ways to get me.
So I'm going through here and just still highlighting. It's funny because I'm seeing some of the chat over here and then seeing it over here, and it's a little behind in our chat for the stream as it is live.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I just highlighted chats that was like, oh, Thanos Copter's next chat. And then I looked and I was like, wait, I've already done that one. Where is it? And it hadn't popped yet. And then I watched it pop.
Delay.
Yeah, just a little bit. So my buddy's Customs is saying, this has been a great show. I always love hearing Sean's passions for everything he loves. Absolutely. Thanks. And he finished painting his transforming He-Man he's been working on.
Nice.
Awesome.
Can't wait to see the pictures of it, bud. It's going to be amazing to see. Well, Bobby, what do you got going on right now? Anything special? Any news updates?
No, nothing really.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for April sometime, I guess.
Hey, that's all good, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still excited for what you got coming down the pipeline, man. And
Yeah.
you know what? You do it when you're ready.
Yeah.
Don't go before you're ready.
No, of course not. I was going to say something, but forget it.
I gave you an opportunity.
I know you
Left
did.
it open for
I
you.
kind of got tongue tied, and I kind of like
See
lost
what
it.
happens?
Is he blushing?
Oh, he's definitely blushing now. Everybody just watch me leave.
It's a
it
curse
wide
I
open.
have, I guess.
It's all good. It's okay.
The
As
curse
far as
of the
curses
blushing
go, it's
Bobby.
really not that bad.
I guess so.
That should be a Dick Tracy saga. The curse of the
blusher.
blushing Bobby.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Someone can draw that up there. I would love to be a villain in Dick Tracy.
All right, guys, you heard it. I'm waiting to see somebody's artwork of Bobby as a villain in Dick Tracy. So, well, that brings it back to me, and we all know how much I love self-promotion.
Sure.
So, last week, of course, again, as Bud mentioned in the intro, that we had that awesome episode of Legion's Class. If you guys haven't checked that out, definitely go back and watch that. If somehow you watched tonight's episode, but you had not watched last week's episode of Toy Frenzy, you definitely need to make sure you do so. Come check out, of course, Mega J's channel. I was just on there this past Sunday when he was doing a live stream. We were talking about a lot of the leaks and everything that has come out. It was myself, Mega J, and Toy Sorceress from Toy Habits. It was a lot of fun. Definitely had some good times hanging out with Toy Sorceress and Mega J. Coming up this week, of course, we'll have Ostradamus Toys live on Saturday night, and that's going to be really fun. We're diving into the Kenner Aliens and Predators lines. It's going to be myself. Elgin's going to be joining us. And I just got confirmation that Sir Clifton, Eternian Ellipse, will actually be joining us that night.
Oh.
Yep. Who will also be going live on his channel for the first time on Sunday.
Wow.
So if you guys haven't subscribed, check out Sir Clifton's channel, Eternian Ellipse. And we're going to be checking out what he's got going on Sunday, as well as this upcoming Sunday, I will actually be appearing on another episode of TKO, where we're going to get into some Legions talk. We got the new Headless Horseman coming out, and we're going to dive into some talk about that, as well as some other things. So here I went from being a complete and total novice noob, learning about Legions and everything like that, to now I'm coming onto somebody's show to talk about Legions. And I got to say, it's a really cool feeling that I've actually gotten to know enough that people are like, we want to know what's going on with him. Like, what he's got with this.
You're just a YouTube hog, is what you are.
Look, you know what? I like hopping around, being on.
No,
all these
I'm just
shows,
teasing you, man. I'm
talking all these shows.
I'm just
because,
kidding with
well, the more I do that, the bigger Toy Frenzy keeps getting. I want this to be a massive Toy Frenzy. I'm talking the level of Woodstock here.
Oh, wow.
So we can get there. We definitely can.
Not with my help. I don't do nothing. I just sit here.
And you blush and you look beautiful. Thank you very much. For everybody else who wants to help, I mean, of course, we have all the amazing Patreon members who help support us, make the show happen. You guys are amazing and fantastic. All the Frenzy Knots out there, all the fans of the show who come up every week. It's great seeing you guys. Thank you all for being here. And even tonight, we had quite a few new people, especially Toy Anxiety stopping by. That was really great to see.
Yeah.
It was unexpected. And again, Toy Connections came in. Mega J was here, letting us know that $80 price tag confirmed for Snake Mountain. That's exciting because I thought it was going to be a little bit more. So that's really neat to see. So we've got a whole lot of stuff going on coming down the pipeline. The frenzy's just going to keep getting bigger, folks. But if you want to help, if you can't sub and join the Patreon, make sure you go ahead and you click that like, leave a comment, and share Toy Frenzy.
Yeah,
Tell people about it. Spread the word. And we want the comments. We want to know what you guys like, what you want to see more of.
Yep.
If you want to see Bobby blush more, let us know.
Yeah.
And leave a comment that
I don't think they need any more of that.
I think we need a lot more of it.
All right.
You know,
I had my face the whole time, and I just sit like this, peek through my fingers.
If you guys enjoy having, cool Uncle Sean on, let us know. Definitely tell us. Now, this part I am trying to get better with here. My buddy's Customs says he left comments last week. So I've been trying to keep up. The problem is with this, with Toy Frenzy being on Skelevator's channel, I don't always come back to look at the comments because I don't get a notification saying there's a comment for Skelly's channel. So sometimes I miss it. I'm going to get better at making sure I go back and I can comment. And
yeah, I do look at them. Yeah, I do look. Well, we really don't get a lot, but I do look at them. Yeah.
And here Bobby was saying he doesn't do anything. He's going in, he's interacting with the comments.
I'm only seeing if they're talking about me. That's all I care about. I'm just kidding.
I was going to say he's the archivist. No, he's just worried about him. That's how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
So my buddy's Customs has said that he sent a picture of his transforming He-Man. So I definitely think I'm going to go ahead and bring that up here before we close it out, just because I know he's been really waiting to do this. And so that transformation sequence that we are all aware of on Revelations and in Masterverse, this is really, really, really incredible here, bud. Wow. All right, hold on a second. I actually want to try to zoom out of this a little bit. But I still want it to be enough that you can see the detail. So I'll try to get this shared up on the screen. Hopefully we don't freeze up too much. Here we go.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll screen
There you go.
Did it come up? Like, is it good?
Yeah.
I can't tell because it's freezing on my end.
Oh, yeah, it's up there.
Okay, great. So Bud has been working all night, and he's been working hard to make sure that he makes this really epic transforming Masterverse He-Man. And I think he's done a fantastic job here. It's really great to see that.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's got that bluish hue of the transformation with changing colors. That's really unique. Thank you, Bud, for sending that and sharing that with everybody here on the Frenzy.
Yeah, it's great. Good job.
I can hear the Bear McCreary soundtrack kicking in when I see that.
Soundtrack. I am so glad that we got that.
Yeah.
So Duchess is also mentioning that she left a comment next week. Thank you guys for leaving those comments because they really, really do help the channel, especially when it's about Vicks, hot dogs, and Woodstock.
That's a sight.
So just to let you know that apparently Bobby, the blushing Bobby, might be here to stay.
I'm good with that. It's nothing, as long as it's nothing else. It could be worse, I guess.
Yeah.
It could always be worse. And never enough blushing Bobby, by the way. So awesome job, Bud. Everybody's chiming in, talking about how great that was.
Yep.
And more from my buddy's Custom saying he shaded using color shifting paint, which is a really awesome touch. So, all right, guys. Well, I think we're going to be signing off here. So thank you all for joining us this Thursday for another Frenzy. It's great seeing you all each and every week. Hopefully, we'll see you all on Saturday. And definitely, hopefully, we'll see you again more Sunday and next Thursday and Wicked Wednesdays. Come check out Duchess on Wicked Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the first part that kind of kicks off the Frenzy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, have a good night, and we'll see you all next week.